Mic check, 1, 2. We seem to be sounding well, coming on later in the day today, later in the day. But shout out to everybody in the building. Appreciate each and every one of you. We're going to be talking about Brittaney Cooper, as you can see in the thumbnail. Yes, she said that the internet is radicalizing black men. We're going to definitely be getting into that. We're going to be getting into a number of things, a couple fun topics on the table. Jamie Foxx out there wind sailing and skiing and doing white people stuff with a white girl. It was pretty, social media made a big deal about that. We're going to be getting into that and a number of other topics. So I got a good one laid out for you today. So let's come on in. Let's get ready to go. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
What in the hell just happened? What happened to the rest of the intro? That was weird. Huh. That was weird as hell. My intro was rolling. Oh, I know what happened. I set on my keyboard. Okay. All right. Never mind. Problem solved. All right, cool. So we missed half the intro. That's all right. We're going to roll it. And we're going to get into it. Shout out to each and every one of you. Glad y'all could be here today. Glad you could make it. Shout out to the early bird squads that make it in bright and early. Paul Game says, I know Mumia wants a piece of this. Perhaps so. Paul Game in the building. He says, waking black men up and giving them a voice translates to radicalizing to black women that are hefty. Absolutely. Ecapone in the building. He says, why is it? I think it means why is it? Why is it always a big and unattractive women? Well, in the words of Tom Lakis, who fell out of favor with me due to his commentary on Kevin Samuels, after Kevin Samuels' death, but he was quoted as saying, and he was kind of right. He says feminism was invented to give fat, fugly women a chance. He probably was right, even though he fell out of favor with me for his commentary on Kevin Samuels' death. That was just about as reprehensible as what Vivica Fox said. He went that low. But shout out to Jackie Jack in the building. Says this thumbnail, I don't read emoji. I don't know what that person is, what that face is doing. It's not laughing. Is that like a cringe? Got punched in the stomach face? I don't know what that face means. I don't read emoji very well. Excalibur in the building says, salute, Brother Bernard. Salute, Brother Bernard. E. Capone in the building says she should use her platform to promote health, not more division between black men and black women. How you going to promote health while being that visibly unhealthy? That visibly unhealthy. We do know there's a such thing as healthy people who could have internal things going on that they, that sprouts up. MTR, a very healthy person, had cancer. When you're walking around that visibly healthy, yeah, I said a very healthy person has cancer. A very visibly, outwardly healthy person who exercises and drinks. I forgot how many gallons of water he drinks per day. But yeah, people like that can still fall sick. Shout out to Jay Monta in the building. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody. I'll read this last one. Jay Monta reacts, says, the fact that black women with all knowledge and health issues that comes with being overweight would spend her time criticizing black men instead of working on her diet and exercise tell you a lot about her. Well, okay, I understand where you're coming from. I don't necessarily go that route. I mean, yeah, if you're that big, you need to do something about it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you're that big, you do need to do something about it, but I don't go that route because there's something more important. You can't talk about something else. My argument and my point is what you're talking about. Is it accurate or is it not? Is it right or is it wrong? Are you making sense or not making sense? That's where I'm at with it. Those are my general points with it. Those are my general points with it. But shout out to E. Capone in the building, dropping 5 on it. Do appreciate. Whoa, why isn't that moving? Why isn't that moving? That should be moving. I couldn't make that move. But shout out to E. Capone in the building, dropping 5. Shout out to Indigenous TV in the building. He says, Bernard, even you can rush for 2,000. Let me see if I can make this show up a little bigger. No, I can't. I got to work with what I'm working. Okay, there I go. That's better, slightly. Indigenous TV in the building says, Bernard, even you can prevent forest fires. No, even you can rush for 2,000 yards behind Brittaney Renner. Rush for 2,000 yards behind Brittaney Renner. Putting a different 2,000 yards in. Okay, even you can rush for 2,000 yards behind Brittany Cooper, 6'5". She ain't 6'5". She's over 320. She's over 320, but she ain't 6'5". Left tackle. Left tackles are better pass blockers, by the way. But Brittany Cooper, 6'5", 320 left tackle, the female Walter Jones. No, she ain't 6'5". She got that 320 covered, but she ain't 6'5". That I know. Man. You're a 6'5" woman and that big. Oh, that's she's. Ugh. But anyway, we got a number of things on the table before we get into that. We're going to be touching on quite a few different things. Going to be bouncing this bad boy around. Jamie Foxx, my man, Jamie Foxx. I heard Jamie Foxx supposed to be playing Mike Tyson in the movie. They've been saying that for like 10 years. I have not seen the movie yet. I don't know if it's still in the works. I hope that happens. He recently was brought on, that social media mob, the same one that hit and attacked Bronny James for pulling up at the prom with a white girl. They're doing the same thing with Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx is catching a lot of that same criticism, and I think it's stupid. I think it's ridiculous. I think it doesn't make sense. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I mean, to some degree, I know where it comes from. I see where it comes from, but like, dang. Yeah, JJ, you caught that. You caught that. See, here's my thing. Here's my thing with that. Here's my thing. And wait, y'all give me a slight second. Give me a slight second. It's going to take 10 seconds. I do got to do something. Hold on. All right, it took 22 seconds. It took 22 seconds. But we back. So here's my thing with Jamie Foxx. It ain't no big deal. It shouldn't be a big deal. But as a man, I'll say this. I do side eye it when I see famous black male celebrities with normal looking white girls. This woman ain't ugly. And maybe the shades are hiding something. And if there's other pictures, look, put it like this. If there's other pictures out there of her, send them to me. I want to see them. If there's other pictures out there for me, send them to me. I mean, if there's other pictures out there of her, send them to me. I do want to see it. I do want to see it. Because right now, I mean, I side eye it when I see them out there with normal looking white girls. Like, you're Jamie Foxx. He shouldn't be out there with a white girl that look like I could pull her. That's my only that's the only criticism that men should have here, because we exaggerate that in this space, and I think it's exaggerated to some degree when we say it be regular normal looking white dudes out there with hold on, that's Charlize Theron. Oh, Charlize Theron is normal looking now. Charlize Theron and got normal. That's her for real? That's not her. We be talking a lot about how we be seeing normal looking white dudes walking around at the mall with bad black chicks. Now, some of that is exaggeration. Some of that is, but it's a grain of truth in that. Maybe not even a grain of, there's probably a lot of truth in that. But I try to be careful that I'm not basing something on internet social media confirmation bias. I don't want to base that on social media confirmation bias. Social media says it, and now that they said it, I'm looking for it. And then I saw it after social media said it, and there it is. It's true. That's called confirmation bias. I try not to do that. However, it is some truth in that you're liable to see a bad black chick walking around with a normal looking white dude. So I'm just saying, from a standpoint of a black man, when you're as big as Jamie Foxx, when you're that dude, when you on top of the world, yeah, she's supposed to be bad. She's supposed to be bad. She ain't supposed to be. She ain't supposed to be normal looking. She ain't supposed to look like, like I could pull her. Like, put it like this: if Lori Harvey wasn't even famous, and we didn't know who the hell she was, and Michael Jordan just pulled up on the red carpet, and that's the girl he was with, we'd be like, all right, that look about right. We'd be like, all right, that makes sense. I don't get that. I don't get that with that one. I don't get that with that one. And don't y'all go to try to say, yeah, GA boy, he says facts, but nah, my white neighbor look better than her. Yeah. It be like that. I mean, it don't always be like that. I'm not going to over exaggerate it, but if so, she's looking like Peyton Manning. I wouldn't say she's looking like Peyton Manning. Her and Peyton Manning probably got the same forehead. Peyton Manning is listed 6'5". He'd be about 5'11" if it went for that damn forehead. That's for damn sure. Peyton Manning got like the longest forehead ever. Oh, cartoon character head having. Like, this is. He said this isn't hot in the picture. Yeah, I mean, she's like just a normal looking chick. I'm getting to that a little bit later, Ed. I'm getting to that a little bit later. Turtleneck. But yeah, that's my only commentary on the Jamie Foxx thing. It's not a big deal. Oh, okay, here we go. Now cut it. Hold on. Where's it at? He says, I'm not the black man dick police. Now for that, I say cut it out, because we do judge and rate women over here. So let's cut it out. I just dropped a pre-record on Miss Average at Best where we just ran all her looks through a fine-tooth comb. If she do get this high value, high earning man, that if she do end up with him and he marry her and the whole works, okay, cool, whatever. They happy, hope they happy. But we do side eye men when we see them with a with a not so good looking chick. We do that. So like let's not forget where we at. Let's not forget where we at. We rate women over here, so don't Jamie Foxx pull up with a white girl. Let's not don't y'all go getting on some love is love type stuff all of a sudden, like y'all don't be rating women. So Jamie Foxx pull up with her, we can rate her. But we ain't we ain't in the smacking the wrist of a man because for being with a white chick, but we can rate the white chick. Like let's not get that twisted. All I'm saying is your status is big as Jamie Foxx, your white girl shouldn't be normal looking. That's all I'm saying. She shouldn't look like a white girl that I pulled before. Like that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Not even a controversial point there. Just a little small, just a little small general point. Just a little small general point. That's all. That's all. Let's not get silly with it. Let's not get silly with it. Nah, it's just white boys don't date fat black women. So just because of that, they get the better one. Yeah, yeah. I mean that's generally true. That's generally true. They have a standard and we have none. They have a standard and we have none. He's called her Miss Below Average at best. Um, in that video, and I'll go ahead and speak on that very briefly. In that video, I did a pre-record on it, but it's one thing that didn't make the cutting room that hit the cutting room floor is when I did point out I had to edit it because I wanted the video to be only 8 minutes long. They say that's better for pre-records, not go too long. So I had to cut a few things. So I end up cutting the part where one thing that you couldn't see in her video with Kevin Samuels, the average at best chick, she has larger breasts. Now I know when Kevin Samuels do his ratings, he say fresh face out the shower. What do you rate yourself? Okay, fine. But her breasts are big enough to add a point. To wherever you had her at, don't she got some she's not exactly skinny, but she's slim enough to where her breasts are impressive. You gotta give her that. You gotta give her that. So I ain't saying that bumps her up to a 7 or 8. I'm just saying wherever if you had her at a 4, you might have to bump her to a 5. That's all I'm saying. You might have to bump her to a 5. That's it. That's it. Good one. He said, so it's average at breast now? Yes. Yes. We couldn't see her breast in the original video. We couldn't see that. So if Uneducated Lame had the average at best chick at a 4.5, now that we know that she got big breastises, 5.5. That's all. That's all. No big deal. Nothing controversial there. Nothing controversial there. But we got a number of things we're going to get into where hold on. He said KS overrated her. I was down with the 5. She looked like she's facially went down a little bit since then. It's been almost 2 years, so she looked like she's facially went down a little bit since then. But no, I give her credit. I give her credit for the breast. I see SKC down there. SKC said he looked happier than Will Smith. Oh man. Y'all be killing me. Shout out to Iko Giamian in the building. Shout out to Iko Giamian in the building. Shout out to Ike. But yeah, let's let's move on. Let's move on. We gonna let Jamie Foxx have his fun. But I when the Twitter mafia, black social media mob come after a brother, I do give him some defense. I gotta jump in and give him some defense. But I did give a slight criticism that that she looked slightly above average at best. And Jamie Foxx, come on, do better. We rating women over here. We not gonna get on some love is love when we see him with a white girl. We rate women all the time, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, you can do better than that. It look like I could pull her. You should be doing better than me. But all right. But all right, moving moving along, moving along. Um, it's a number of things I wanted to get into, number of things I want to get into. I'm about to pull a quick share screen on something because we already sort of indirectly trespassed on the hold up. Yeah, there it is. Kind of trespassed on the topic of Kevin Samuels. So this is a indirect very indirect Kevin Samuels topic here. Some of y'all may have seen this. Some of y'all may have seen this, and y'all probably can't see me. Okay, yeah, we're gonna leave that. We're gonna leave that like that. Why is my shit acting funny? Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Hold on, y'all. I'm having technical difficulties.
So that was
There it
the
is.
secret. So what?
All right, this is a video of a woman. Woman explains how to marry a high value man and become a housewife. Whenever, whenever women be talking about this, my automatic side eye detection
Okay, Allie, show me.
Comes up because I'm like, they all cap. It's becoming a growing thing on the internet where it's just normal and fashionable for them to pander to men. I don't like that it's a market for that. I don't. We're going to get into the Brittany Cooper topic later on. I got a few things I'm gonna get into. I don't like that there's a market of women pandering to men. That market exists, and it is what it is. SKC cut it out. Barack got with Michelle when they both was broke when they got together, and they grew it up, built it together. That one doesn't count. That one doesn't count. That one doesn't count. Cut it out, SKC. Indigenous TV in the building says, so Bernard, we do rate, but why do standards change when it's a non-black female? Suddenly black men need to have standards. But with Keisha, who the hell said don't have standards with Keisha? This whole goddamn show and damn near the sector, or at least a portion of the sector, is about telling black men to raise your standards. Don't put up with no bullshit. Don't put up with baby mamas. Don't mess with some overweight chick. Don't feel obligated to do it. Stand on your square, know what you want, go for it and get it. That's a big part of the message on almost everybody's channel. So where do you get that from, Indigenous TV? Where do you get that from? I'm the one that's consistent. You're inconsistent if you start talking some love is love stuff when you see a black man with a white woman, but when you see a black man with a black woman, you run a fine-tooth comb through everything about how she looks. I'm consistent. I run the same fine-tooth comb regardless. So I'm the one that's consistent. It's an inconsistency to get on some love is love stuff when it's a white chick on the table. So Becky gonna get rated and Keisha gonna get rated. They all gonna get rated over here. They all gonna get rated over here. You saying nothing was wrong with her? Nothing. No, nothing. No, I said she looked like just a normal looking chick. And Jamie Foxx is not a normal looking dude. I mean, not normal looking. He's not a normal dude. That's all I'm saying is Jamie Foxx not normal. I'm pretty sure he could pull above normal because he's not normal. I ain't talking about his looks. I'm talking about who he is. That's what I'm talking about. Like, come on, that's easy to understand. That's easy to understand. Yeah, he's saying she wasn't ugly, just normal looking. Okay, so we agree on that. She was just okay looking, just normal looking white chick. Jamie Foxx ain't a dude. He's Jamie goddamn Foxx. That's all I was saying. Jamie goddamn Foxx shouldn't be windsailing in the Bahamas with with. I mean, I'm not gonna say he shouldn't be. He can do what the hell he want to do, but I'm just saying that yeah. I mean, she ain't. I wouldn't put her average at best, but I mean, she is normal, just slightly above average, regular looking chick. You know, that's all I was saying. That's a non-controversial statement. That's a non-controversial statement. He says, I don't either, Bernard Riley. They use men to make money, like Melanie King. Yeah. I don't. I ain't come here to call out names. I ain't come here to call out names. Ed goes, niggas go from dabble in the dark to love is love real quick. Ike says adjustable sixes are winning. But all right, let's. Oh, of course. I've definitely hit worse. I just ain't been on vacation with worse. It's a difference. Like, come on. It's a difference. We've all hit worse. We just ain't been on vacation. All right, let's get into this video. Y'all let me know what y'all think. This is just a random chick pandering or nah? Or is this an example of Kevin Samuels' message really hitting home with the modern woman and making them change their views and their lifestyles? But all right, let's get into that.
Earring.
Oh, here.
Now, tell me what you do for a living.
Oh, I love my husband.
And how did you get that awesome job?
Well, I became a better human being, and I became feminine and also shocking, submissive. So that was the secret.
So, what are your tips to women that want to be a housewife?
To embrace it. It's an actual job. You just can't get it in the public or private sector. Like you need a man to hire you for it, but that's okay. Because if you think about it, you submit to your boss who makes you clean stupid shelves at your retail job, right? Like, wouldn't it be better if you were cleaning your own shelves at home? You know what I mean? And your boss wants to sleep with you in a good way. In a good way.
And where do you meet these men?
Well, I think women should work for the men that they want to pursue. I know that sounds crazy, but it's really easy. So if you think about it, like you want a lawyer, right? So then you should be a paralegal, or if you want a dentist, then you should be a dental hygienist. But these are considered, I guess, high value status professions. But I think that's a really good model that not enough women utilize, because women will bully the woman who is the secretary that marries the doctor, okay? But who has the last laugh? Like her in her McMansion with her husband who's high and the babies. Like that's who has the last laugh. So.
All right. There it is, right there. There it is, right there. So, what y'all think? What y'all think on this one? Do y'all think this is a woman who is legitimately taking in a message? And these are her honest thoughts, views, and perspectives? Or is this a woman just saying what she thinks men want to hear because she can go viral for doing it? Is this a pander, or is this legit? Like, some women are actually thinking along these lines. What's your thoughts on that? What's your thoughts on that? Let me know what you think. Hold on, he says she's not thotted up with tats either. We got a sound panderish. We got a pander bear. We need a name for the female pander bear. We got one. Think she's being honest. You think she's being honest?
Beta.
No, I'm just playing on that one. I'm just playing. You're not a beta if you think she's being honest. So RM knows who she is. I don't know who this chick is. RM says Bernard Riley. She's been as consistent as Crimson Cure with her message. Aha. Somebody said Simpet. That's funny. That's funny. But there's nothing wrong with a female simp. There's nothing wrong with a female simp. It's only weak when a man is doing it. It's only weak when a man is groveling and you know on his knees for a woman like that. That's when the dude comes off as a weak pushover and not strong and masculine. But the woman who's supposed to be the weaker, softer, feminine one in the relationship, that's, you know, yeah, that's so that leads us right into the conversation we was having about the simp and the pick me. That leads us right into the conversation we was having about the simp and the pick me and the differences. The pick me is the one who looks at the man in high regard, loves and adores and follows the lead of the stronger force in the relationship. But if the simp is acting as if that woman is the stronger prime mover in the relationship, he's weak and they will tend to lose they'll tend to lose respect for him. I mean, we know the game on that. We know what that is. But see, I'm actually divided, even though, like Hood Conservative said in the chat room, she definitely hit all the right notes. But when every note is just so rock solid, perfect, like, oh my goodness, that's everything that we ever wanted to hear. It's like, okay, come on. Who you No, that don't work, Koala. No, that don't work. um But if RM know who she is and she says that this chick has a steady, consistent message, but you can be steadily, consistently pandering for a long time. That is one of the side effects and drawbacks of when men essentially, you know, you give game to the women. Now the women know exactly what to do. The women know exactly what to say. They know exactly how to act, and that could be a good thing, because on one hand, if you got one person that is the consumer of the product, there's nothing wrong with teaching the product to be better. But the thing is that when the product is a human can pretend to be something that it's not. So is it really changing, or is they just they learning how to do the act better? They learning how to do the act better. So then it's a question of how they act in the real life, and do they just come online and portray the act? So that is a serious dilemma with this whole thing, with all this information getting out here online, because a lot of people don't realize, even with the game that men get from this space, a lot of women just sit in the clouds, listen and soak up that game, and then when they see you move in a certain way, you do certain things, or they see you, you know, offer up, let's just say you offer the coffee date, and you go from after the coffee date, you're doing a let's go out for drinks date. They in their mind, they've soaked up the game, they've listened to men talk. They know that okay, he's just trying to deliberately keep costs down, because he's dating a lot of different chicks. So he's just trying to keep that cost down, because he don't want to be dating a lot of different chicks and taking a lot of them out on dates. So he just want to get you out in person. That's why that's where the feed the ducks and all that stuff come from. Taking her to go feed the ducks and to walk through the park and all of that. That's where all of that come from. They learn that game, and they start rejecting those dates. And so they adjust to our adjustments, and we adjust to their adjustments. And that just ends up being just an ongoing thing that happens with all this game being put out there and delivered out here on the internet. Indigenous TV in the building says non-black women know how to pick me. Yeah, I think they do know how to pick better. I do think that is the case. He says they have it down to a science. I don't think they got it all the way down to a science, but I think they do a much better job at it. I think they do a much better job at it. I think they do a much better job at it. Gun Street's in the building. He says, Bernard too busy talking. He not looking at all the people in the chat giving him the answer on who she is. Well, of course I should be too busy talking. I'm, goddamn it, we're doing the show. But no, I didn't see anybody give me the answer on who she is. I'm looking right now. All right, type that in right now. Type it in right now. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting. Oh. Real Femme Sapien. I have a question. Is her audience primarily men, or is her audience primarily women? And I know that's a tough one. Care Bear. That's a good name instead of calling the men Panda Bear, call the women a Care Bear. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, you're getting close. You're getting close. Is our audience primarily men or is our audience primarily women? I have asked all the women who fall under that pick me category who's built platforms. I've asked all of them what percentage of their audience is male, what percentage is female, and I'm yet to find one who has a majority female audience. I want for that to happen. I want for that to be the case. I'm not side-eyeing them and saying they're fake if they have a majority male audience, but they're basically saying a bunch of random stuff or a bunch of not, no, I won't even say random stuff. They're saying a bunch of stuff that women need to hear, but they're not speaking to a primary audience of women. So if they got a 10% female audience, like, so they gotta they gotta get 1 million men in there listening to them just to get 100,000 women listening to them. They got to get 10,000 men listening to them just to get 1,000 women listening to them. I mean, that's at that point. Oh shit! Here come GC. You know, GC can get the link. This link is for GC because I do got a lot more show coming up, so I don't want to be too long winded on this one. Well, no, I mean I don't mind. Well, I mean me and GC we'll go wherever we go with it, but I don't want to get bum rushed. In fact, to save the bum rush, we about to do this like this. GC, I'm gonna send that link to your email. I need to. Okay, hold up. The link is going to Game Changer's email. I know this is a pet subject of Game Changer. So the link just hit your email, GC. The link just hit your email. Oh shit. Almost spilled all my damn coffee. Almost spilled all my damn coffee. So. Fem sapien, the real fem sapien. That sounds that sounds a bit corny. Keep in mind, I know nothing about her. If she's 100% rock solid, listen, I didn't do research. I stumbled across this video. It said I'm going to react to it. Here's a chick who's more or less sounds like she's parroting Kevin Samuels. GC, the link is sent to your email. The link is sent to your email. Hopefully you got it. Indigenous TV says, Bernard, invite her to your panel on Friday. LOL. See what comes of it. Yeah, that would be fun. That would be fun. I would probably like that. But we got Game Changer in the building. What's going on? What's up, man?
Hey, what's up? What's up, Mark?
What's happening? What you got?
Okay, sorry about my voice. It's allergies out here is pretty bad.
Yeah, your voice sounds deeper.
Allergies. I mean, my voice is probably all kind of different places, but
I'm messing with
you. Yeah. I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah, maybe that's just what my voice needs. But anyway, this chick, she actually touched on something that I always suspect, and it was something that we actually talked about privately, and that is the purpose of these career colleges and these daytime TV shows. You can be a medical assistant, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, there's a big market for these schools that teach young ladies, and it's primarily girls that go there to become medical assistant or legal assistant or whatever assistant, dental assistant, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that the majority of these girls are doing it to do exactly what this chick is describing, and that is to get close to doctors, lawyers, dentists, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, get close to the high value men so they can marry them. They're going into debt from $60,000 to $100,000 just to make $18 an hour, just for a chance to get close to these doctors, so they can, they can make a career out of being a housewife. Now, the problem is that they missed the key thing that she was saying, and that is be feminine first. So, And that's one problem. Another problem is it's more of them than there are jobs, and it's more of them than there are doctors. So a lot of those women are going to be disappointed. But um, yeah, I think that that's the plan. I think that that's the niche. That's why you always see females at these career colleges, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
When you say those career colleges, you said going 60 to 100,000 in debt to get a job making $18 an hour. Like, what kind of job does that where the debt is 60,000 but they just making 18? I mean, damn, well, hell, I guess a lot of them, because a lot of those chicks that get degrees be only making 40,000. So that's just $20 an hour. So I guess that is how the math adds up. But basically, just being an assistant, what are the job titles? A damn dental assistant. They lay out the scalpel and all the other stuff, tools, or what? Like, what do they do? What's
So there's a whole bunch of them, Bernard. There's dental assistant, and who do exactly what you say. Or when the doctors say, drill, she passes him the drill and stuff like that. So there's those. There are the X-ray people who take your X-ray when before the dentist. There's the dental hygienist. There's the dental billing specialist. Basically, when you walk into a dentist office and you see a bunch of chicks just talking,
just there doing nothing?
yeah,
Just
that are doing nothing until the dentist actually comes and he does something, and then they do something when the dentist do something. That's them. They all went to school for that job, that stand around and do nothing until the dentist start doing something type thing. So, and it's the same with doctors, you know, medical billing specialist. These are all fancy names for the do nothing bitches. So, but they go there. These jobs do not pay much, but they give them proximity to the doctor. They all go for hope that they will get that doctor, and they actually leave these academies or whatever you want to call them in more debt than some people who actually go to 4-year universities.
yeah, no, so yeah, I'm with you on that, and I think that's a hellified strategy for for women to try to pull off, to go ahead and put themselves in close proximity. We've talked about that on the show, how they get an I forgot what kind of degree we called it, an MRS degree. That's basically what they're going for, the MRS degree. But what I wanted to talk about is, and we've talked about this before too, but this came up. I mean, she said a lot of stuff. It's like, hitting all the right notes and everything. And I get it. I get it. I get it. But
Hold
I
on, hold
wanted
on.
to just get a read
Right,
on
right quick.
people.
If I could just address Asperger's right quick.
Okay.
That is bullshit. Okay, dental hygienists make like $18 an hour. Nobody's paying that much to get the damn teeth clean. That's ridiculous. That's something they tell you so you can pay for the dental hygienist school. That is, they do not make that much, and it's predicated on they actually have to have clients. They make $18 an hour if they get, and they hope that they get 8 clients a day so they can work a full day. It's not that much. I've talked to them. They do not make that much at all. You are wasting your money if you do that.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, so moving on to what the chick was talking about in the video, would you say that, and I think I know where you're at with it. I was wanted to get to feel the vibe of the audience and see where they was at with it, with chicks like this. And keep in mind, I don't know her following. I don't know her platform. Some people say she's been doing this for a while. What do you think about this market that has opened up, where men have said, what they want, what they like, how they want and expect women to be, and then now the women are saying, this is what they want, so now we're going to do a better job at not just acting, I'm using air quotes here, we're going to do a better job of just acting like that or presenting like that in real life, but we're also going to go online and and sell it as a product to get male viewership. I think some people would call that the prototypical online pick me. So I mean, that's what we sort of stumble back into when we're talking about this. So what's your overall general thoughts on that? Is it is it a it's a bunch of foolishness and fakery that they doing with this whole little presentation?
A little bit. I mean, keep in mind that through all of this feminism and everything that's going on, there has always existed women who were housewives, and they were women that catered to their men. That hasn't changed. It's just that now they're becoming vocal about it because they realize that it's an audience out there for it. There's an audience of women, but primarily there's an audience of men who want women to be like that.
Mm-hmm. If you had to say, and I've asked this question before, I don't know if I asked you directly on this. What if you could shoot from the hip and say, what can these women do who have an audience of men? What could they possibly do to build up their audience of women? How could they how could they get their stuff to just 60% women, 40% men, 70% women, 30% men? What could they do to try to do that? Because I always say when I listen to these messages, I'm like, yeah, that's great, that's great. Men don't necessarily need to hear that. Women need to hear that. But the content strategy always seems is to grow a male audience.
Well, the ones I know about, the content strategy isn't really to grow a male audience because of the nature of what they're talking about, and the fact that men want to hear women hear it more than women want to hear it. There's always going to be, more men. So it's unfortunate but true. So say somebody like Chantel, she gets a female audience member. She can't help the fact that she opened the door for a woman and six men came in. At the same time. What is she going to do? Close the door for the men? I mean, like she created the platform to tell women something, and men came in too because they want to see the women get told this. It's the same with Kevin Samuels. Men want to see women get told. We want to see the process of women getting edified on how to be women.
But he figured out a way to effectively do it to where it's men and women there, and both men and women enjoy it and get something out of it. So he did effectively figure that out. I've been, trying to just think, how could a woman some way somehow pull that off? I don't know if she can. But real quick, JC the Conqueror in the building, he says no man should allow a woman to stay at home for nothing unless she got your kids. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. I'll probably circle back to that one. Super chat. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna start that one. We might come back to that. Go ahead. Was you about to respond to what I just said right there? Or
no, what was the last thing you were saying?
I forgot already. But no, I was just saying Kevin Samuels figured out a way to effectively get men and women right there. I don't know if he, I don't know if he had majority men or majority women. I really don't know, but I do know he effectively pulled off that trick. He pulled off that stunt, that trick of getting them both in there. So,
well, I mean, you're talking about ratio when you bring it up. You're saying how do you get like a higher ratio of women? I don't really think that the women who do it should be focusing on ratio more than how do I get more women in. You mentioned like if they have 10,000 people watching and 1,000 of them are women. It's like, well, they'll have 100% ratio if they just told the 9,000 men to fuck off. But I don't think that would really help what they're doing at all. They just understand that, listen, my message is to the 1,000 women out there, and these 9,000 men just came to listen, and I can't stop that. So why would I? And I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, well, what do you think about this theory right here? And Edward Anderson threw this off in one of his hurricane rants. And every now and and I shouldn't even say every now and then, a lot of the time when Edward is doing those rants, he'll just throw out a priceless gem and just keep moving.
Okay.
But it was one of them that was good to the point BGS did a reaction video to it. And basically he said a lot of those men, and this may be a tough one, a lot of those men who pull up to women channels to hear women, say a lot of the things that men have been saying. When they pull up to those women with those female channels to do it, these are men. They've shared a lot of their matriarchal programming. They're not gynocentric anymore. They're red pill. They're manospherians. But a lot of them still looking for a woman. This is the hard part. A lot of them still looking for a woman to submit to, and that's why they pull up in great numbers watching those female channels, giving them a a lot of game and knowledge and teaching and schooling them, as well as saying things that the 10% of the women in the audience can hear. But that the hard one in there that I've been trying to process when they said it, but they said a lot of the guys are looking for somebody to submit to. What's your general thoughts on that? They're looking for a woman to submit to. That's a tough one. I don't know how much I agree with it, but what's your thoughts on that?
I don't. Well, what are they basis on it? I don't really know. I haven't surveyed the audience members, but what are they? I have met in personal dealings men who are looking for women to submit to. So yeah, I mean, I'm not really. I do know that those men exist. I don't know if they're necessarily the audience members of women like that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it might have some merit, but like, what are the basis of it?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's where I was at too. That's where I was at with it as well. I don't know exactly what was the basis to it, but it was one that just made me say, It did make me say, I did have to think on that one. But Kiss My Asperger's in the building. He says the average dental hygienist in the U.S. makes $68K per year. I posted multiple sites. Okay, thank you. Good for you. Game Changer disagrees. And
well,
I'm not invested in that one. Y'all could go back and forth on that one if y'all want to. But hold on, real quick. Gun Streets. When I said Kevin Samuels demographics, you said 60% men, 40% women. Do you know that to be true? And if so, how do you know that? Or is that just your ballpark on Kevin Samuels' audience? Go ahead, GC.
I'm sorry.
Gun Streets
I
in the
was
chat.
looking up the dental hygienist stats. What was the question?
Oh no, I was talking to Gun Streets. I didn't know if you wanted to No, I didn't know if you was. I know if I cut you off. I didn't know if I cut you off. But no, I was talking to Gun Streets. Okay, he said he heard it from KS that he's 60% men, 40% women. Okay, cool. I dig that. But all right. I didn't want to spend too much time on that issue right there. But I'll move on. But I'm glad you're here. If you ain't got nowhere to go or nothing better to do,
I got like 10 minutes, and then
you ain't got nothing better to do. We about to roll some not so beautiful bean footage on something else. About to roll some not so beautiful bean footage on something else. But I do want to make sure I say this and put this out there that I like to analyze I like to analyze demographics on certain things. I got no problem with the women. I always say I don't care who said it first. I don't care who said it best. I'm like that as being said. So whether it's men saying these things, women saying these things, I'm 100% good with it. I just personally think I just would personally love if those women some way somehow, I don't even know how interested they are in doing it, some of them, but if they some way somehow figured out the way to get have that same message but get women to listen to them, that would be perfect. That's all. That's where I'm at with it. That's what I'm at with it. No criticism of them for doing it. And so that's just a personal that would be nice if they had a majority female audience. But anyway, moving along, not this chick right here. This chick I don't have the original video. I just got her reaction to the original video. So but the original video is about a chick who's talking about her dating strategy of dating multiple guys at a time and why she does it and how she does it. And I haven't even seen this all the way. Through. I just saw the beginning of it and was like, yep, that's enough. I'm gonna do a live raw reaction to it. So this is me and Game Changer giving a live raw reaction to this one because it seemed interesting from the first 30, 40, 50 seconds that I watched. So without further ado, let's go.
This is a shady way of going about finding love. Posse, y'all are gonna eat this up and for free, honey, all right? Because one hot girl, known only as Hannah, is giving up the math to her method for scoring free drinks and dinner all summer long until she finds Mr. Right. Hannah, she's a single girl from Texas. She claims she really hasn't dated in like the last 3 years, so she's getting back out there, but with a vengeance, honey, okay? She is now network dating a roster of about 5 men every 2 weeks. And while she's out on these dates, she's going to eat, drink, and be very specific about what she's looking for. It's very casual for her. She wants.
All right.
Well,
go ahead.
Because I always like to do this, and this is kind of like a disclaimer, kind of like putting this out there as a given, a statement that everyone needs to know, but something that we can reference later, and that is the woman Hannah is significantly more attractive than the host by a wide margin. By a wide margin. She is ridiculously more attractive than this black woman who's speaking right now. And the reason why it's very important to know that is um, is because her message isn't necessarily for her. She's saying that this is advice that that we should take, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's not necessarily the case. It's kind of like if Michael Jordan was to give me basketball advice, like that's good for you or people who actually have that particular athletic skill set. Any advice that this woman give doesn't necessarily apply to this woman who's receiving it.
Well, I kind of disagree, and here's why.
Okay.
I clowning you. You said GC sounds different. You got the Rona. No, he got allergies, and it made his voice deeper, man. So yeah, that's all. That's all. Don't. All right, my bad.
Yeah.
No, the reason I disagree is that the chick in the video, yeah, okay, she was a hot chick, so yeah, she can date 5 guys at the same time over the course of 2 weeks, and then rotate in and hold another new group of 5 guys. The only difference is the hot chick can get 5 guys who to take her to more expensive restaurants and just use them for drinks and more expensive food. But this chick, she could get 5 guys over the course of 2 weeks to all take her to Applebee's once or twice. I think she could pull that off. So she could work the same strategy just at a lower level. She may not get to, they ain't taking her to Ruth Chris or Papa Do's, but somebody could bring her. She can get 5 guys to bring her some Popeye's chicken. No?
I don't think so, but
just because you wouldn't bring her no Popeyes, that don't mean she don't got 5 guys who would deliver her some Popeyes.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't bring the other girl Popeyes either, but I mean, maybe I'm pretty sure that they exist.
GC, okay? Hold on, let me see. Let's rewind this a little bit. We're gonna rewind this. Okay, this chick right here. You met her at Walmart. You got her cell phone number, and yeah, I talked on the phone for a little bit, text back and forth a little bit, and she said, "Hey, could you bring me some Popeyes?" You would bring her some Popeyes if bringing her some Popeyes chicken was your potential gateway to her vagina. You would show up with a whole the goddamn 3-piece and a biscuit, fried, a drink, the whole works. You would.
Excuse me. So for her, like I was telling everybody, I tend to do coffee dates more than anything. But in the situation that you described, where we talked for a significant amount of time over the phone and text and stuff like that, and I got a sense of her personality, and I enjoyed it, then yeah, I probably would. The reason why I avoid dinner dates isn't because of the money, the financial aspect of it. The reason why I avoid dinner dates is because most women I simply don't like talking to. So I try to avoid it at all costs, which is why I do drinks, coffee, Jamba Juice, or something like that. Ice cream, maybe. I'll do something quick versus a situation where I have to dine and actually talk to a bitch that I don't like. So, however, in the situation you described, if we had conversations and it turns out I do like talking to her over the phone, then yeah, I would.
Okay, all right. I don't know how you make a distinction there. If you're going out for drinks, you got to talk. You're going out to eat, you got to talk. You got to talk regardless.
It's an amount of time.
Yeah,
it's an amount of time. I do like to limit the amount of time I spend talking to people I don't like talking to.
Gotcha. So with the drink, you feel like you can just get in and get out, and if it ain't going where you want it to go after one drink, then okay, you just spent 15 minutes with her and you gone. That's more or less where you at with it as far as the drinks.
That's exactly where I'm at with it. Yeah, and that's why I do that most of the time. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Got it. Let's hear the rest of this. I'm gonna try to go back to where we was at.
Going to eat, drink, and be very specific about what she's looking for. It's very casual for her. She wants to make sure that they're happy to lavish her with, food, drinks, and whatever else she might want. They should not be coming into the dates expecting a hookup. Hannah's not with it. It's not going to happen. She has to really test these guys to see if they're okay with her being celibate until she's ready to no longer be celibate. She put it out there and social media loved it. I mean, at the time,
I'd say the celibate part is BS. We ain't got to spend a lot of time on that, but that's BS. That's just a game that you tell them. But all right, anyway.
Time that I wrote this article, there were over like 500,000 people just chiming in like, yes, girl, do it. You're eating out 1 to 2 days a week. You're having leftovers.
It's a cycle to get free food. Eat leftovers 1 to 2 days, then replenish food with another date. Perfectly plotted. Yeah, wow. So she's not just talking about just getting the whining and dining in that moment. She's talking about going out there, eating, and then taking a bit home, and then letting the leftovers hold her until she gets out on the next date with the next guy. Like that's what kills the paying for dates thing, because a lot of people, if you said that, guys, you had no problem taking a woman out and paying for a date. It's $100, it's $75. And I ain't, I'm not that bothered about spending $70, $700. So some guys will say that, and it's like, no, you're opening up the door for some stuff. There's some preemptive things you could do to make sure that she ain't into playing you like that. But yeah, we can't. We got to look at what these chicks are doing nowadays. And I mean, we could talk about pre-vetting and ways to avoid it, but the fact of the matter is the game is the game and the market is the market. And that I gotta say, the coffee dates, the taking them out for drinks dates and all of that stuff does that's the better option. That's the better option early on, unless you feel like you really know where a chick at. That's just where I'm at with it. Unless you really know where her head at with it, that's how it ought to be done, in my opinion.
No, I agree.
By the time you finish,
What was that?
No, I said I'm agreeing. I got to step away for a second, but
okay, yeah, cool. Go ahead. I got it.
leftovers, you have another date coming up. But some people were like, girl, this might be a bit much. I mean, not only are you kind of like taking advantage of unsuspecting men who might genuinely want to date you, and then they're going to find out that you have 8 other dates lined up for the rest of the week. And according to Hannah, if you're hungry and thirsty, this is the way to go about it. I'm low-key feeling it, but at the same time, I'm never...
I love when they just get too bold and too honest with it. If you hungry and thirsty, this is what you got to do. If you hungry and thirsty, this is what you got to do.
We're going to be a person that's about taking advantage of people. I can't say that that's what Hannah Girl is doing. I don't know, baby girl. But
she literally just said she can't say that's what Hannah is doing. Chick literally just said that's what it's about. Chick literally just said, if you're hungry and thirsty, that's what you have to do. Like that, what the double talk is insane. It's just all over the place. That's what be happening when I be listening to Derek Jackson. You get that damn headache from somebody saying one thing and saying another thing in the next breath and then contradicting themselves 5 seconds later. God damn. How's she gonna contradict herself that damn fast?
Thirsty, this is the way to go about it. I'm low-key feeling it, but at the same time, I'm never going to be a person that's about taking advantage of people. I can't say that that's what Hannah Girl is doing. I don't know, baby girl. But I'm just saying, if that is something that someone can see this and think like, oh, wait, is she like running game? I know that for whether you're a man, woman, cat, dog, turtle, you don't want to be screwed over. You don't want to be taken advantage of. You definitely don't want your pockets run up for no reason. There's definitely got to be a balance, but hey, I'm not mad at a girl with a good brain and a good scheme. And Hannah is doing all.
It's like she should just legit stand on that. She's going back and forth between saying, like, y'all can hear that, right? She's going back and forth between saying, well, I'm not saying she's actually, taking advantage of people. I think it's wrong to take advantage of people, but I ain't mad at her for taking advantage of people. Like that's just like just go ahead and just stand in it. Just stand in it. That's the gaslighting stuff. Just stand in it.
This with a whole lot of rules and regulations for herself. She's saying yes to guys who seem serious. She's only accepting dates from men who really fit her current standards. She's staying celibate because she does not want to get emotionally attached.
Whoa. Saying yes to guys who seem serious. Seem serious about what? Buying you dinner and drinks? Once you say that's what you got to do when you're hungry and thirsty, then she's saying yes to guys who seem serious, like, no. Only accepting dates that fit my current standards, saying staying celibate because I get too attached when I have sex. Casually dating until I find someone I want to be exclusive with. Being open to men that aren't my usual type. Openly communicating expectations. So now she's trying to spin it as if she's doing this in some way to try to find the one. No, she's trying to find as many guys to possibly use for dinner and drinks until she stumbles across one that she likes. Like, call it what it is. Call it what it is.
Through sex. She's casually dating someone until she finds that guy that she wants to be exclusive with. She's going to be very clear and open and honest about what she's expecting in a relationship, and she's going to date men that aren't necessarily her physical type. This definitely has a dash of toxic.
Of course, you're going to date men that ain't her physical type, but they don't got to be her physical type. They just got to be able to show up and take her to a nice restaurant and wine and dine her, and be okay with it, and be okay with not getting no ass. So of course they don't got to be your type. They just got to look decent enough to be seen with in public, so she can pull up and get free food and drinks. Like, duh.
Toxicity in it. I mean, listen, this is all about getting free stuff with the end bonus of finding your man. So it's not all about getting free stuff, but there's a lot that you'll be.
This chick just keep buying the bullshit.
Taking, or anyone that's planning on following Hannah's lead, there is going to be a major financial burden on someone else or innocent people who are out here looking for something. So, it definitely can be a little shady. This is a shady way of going about finding love. But, everybody's got their own agenda to live by. And I think that it's really important that when you're in these dating games and the dating app and the dating world, everybody, men and women, y'all got to keep your wits about you, because nobody wants to get their pockets being taken advantage of, and they don't want their privates being taken advantage of. So everybody, you just got to be careful when you're out there. I need y'all to go ahead and drop it like a hot.
All right, see, we ain't about to hear that part right there. That's what. Yeah, I mean, that's where we about face. That's precisely the part where we about face. All right. All right, getting on to the main topic. We are an hour in here. Let's go. Oh, shit. Let's get on to the main topic. Brittaney Cooper. I promise I didn't stretch that picture out. Why do it look like I stretched it? I didn't stretch that out like that. Or did I? When I was taking out the background, I'm trying to figure out, did I accidentally stretch this picture out? I don't think she's that big. I think I accidentally stretched out the picture. I don't think she's that big. I don't think she's that big. Let me pull up the quote. For y'all. Hell, where is the quote? Okay, now, out of all the things to not have ready, how do I not got the quote ready? Out of all the things to not have ready, that's the one thing that for damn sure should be ready. But somehow it's not. Give me one quick second. Oh, there it is. There it is. All right, here we come. And I quote. So, and I'll put the link in the chat for this main one. We can definitely, because we are hour in, we could definitely have some some conversation and dialogue about this one. Malcolm in the Middle 87 in the building with the $5 super chat. Do appreciate that. Do appreciate that. Link is in the chat for this one. Shout out to each and every one of you in the building. Each and every one of you in the building. Do appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure we hit the like button. We about to get in this. Malcolm in the Middle 87 says, only people I see going on dates is those in relationships. Well, you don't know if they're in a relationship just because you see them on dates. Some guys are still dating in pursuit. Some guys are still dating in pursuit. So that's a whole nother ball game right there. A whole nother ball game right there. But anyway, and I quote, so while I was attempting to compare black men to Peyton Gendron, hopefully I said that name right. I'll be messing up. He says, when I made a flippant response to a friend's post on her, on here, on my back, on here, I absolutely mean what I say about the internet radicalization of black men. Y'all not become, I think she means becoming. Y'all not becoming mass shooters, but you're still a possible threat. We're not becoming mass shooters, but we're still a possible threat. That's what she said. That was the quote. I stumbled across that. I don't know exactly who posted it. Charles Merchant, still on the previous topic, said dating equals prostitution. But Peyton Grindon is the person who she initially was comparing black men to. That was the name of the Buffalo shooter. I don't know why you take an event like the guy from the Buffalo shooting and want to try to pin that or connect that in any way, shape, or form to black men. I don't know why you want to do that. And that's interesting that I did that like that. I guess that'll work. I guess that'll work. Because I thought it was going to look like this. And it was just going to be Game Changer and Brittaney Cooper up there together. But if I do it like that, you're not. All right. So that works. So Game Changer, I promise I didn't stretch out this picture. That's just how she looks. What's your thoughts on her statement? What's your thoughts on her statement right here? Are you home? First off, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay,
Okay.
He says, so I was not attempting to compare black men to Peyton. Let's see. I'm going to put her response. Absolutely.
You're reading it to yourself?
I agree with what she's saying. Yeah, I'm reading. So
Okay.
I agree with what she's saying. We are a threat to the established gynocracy that she's trying to maintain.
If you can increase your volume a little bit, that would be
sure.
great. Just to.
So we are a threat to the gynocracy that they have established over the past couple of generations. So yes, we are a threat to women like her. So absolutely, I do agree. We're not. Yeah, I agree with everything she said because we're not really a physical threat. We're not advocating for violence against fat women. However, it's very difficult for her. Okay, so basically, we're a threat in the sense that everybody with a Yelp account is a threat to a shitty restaurant or a shitty hotel or a shitty anything. You see, we are people who are Yelping shitty women. And that is a threat to a person who is obviously a shitty woman. If you're fat, you're a shitty woman. Here's the thing. You have failed at one of the basic principles of being women, and that is physical attraction. Yes, you haven't maximized your own physical attraction. So you are a shitty woman just by virtue of being fat. So, and men having the ability to Yelp such bitches is definitely a threat.
I never looked at it like that. That a lot of what we're doing is we're yelping women. I never looked at it like that. That's actually pretty clever. And so yeah, they are they're essentially people who don't want to meet the health code standards, and we're restaurant critics. We're like the food critic, the the food critic who's kind of a dick too. Like he's gonna go out his way to point out everything he saw wrong in that restaurant. But with some of them, you don't have to go that far out your way. You don't have to go that far out your way. It's like you could the damn sign is falling off right when the damn safety hazard right when you walk in. So that is an interesting point, but it's something happening there in just the overall psychology of it when they're looking at it from the standpoint of Jack Nickelback, we Gordon Ramsay on their ass. But it is something interesting that they look at that damn near at the same level as they do physical threat of violence, because a guy getting a gun and driving however many hours he drove to just go shoot up some black people, like that's a whole nother monster. But I honestly believe they put a platform like Kevin Samuels being as big as it is, and a lot of other men, smaller channels like mine, they look at that as a bigger. They equate that. I tend to believe that they equate those two things as roughly the same thing. So more or less that's what she means by threat.
It's not equal, Bernard. It's worse. You see here, and by worse, I mean what we're doing is worse than if it was a physical threat. Understand this: women would rather have their ass beat than have their sexual market value depreciated, or the view of their sexual market value depreciated. They would really just rather have their ass beat than to have that happen. And that's something that's just true about them. So yeah, they view it as worse.
Wow. King Prosper in the back, you look like you got some kind of connection issue that I can't really tell what's going on. We're saying device is not connected. So yeah. See, I didn't look at it like that at first. I was looking at it from just seeing the absurdity of what they're doing. And I can always argue that the level, like they're more radicalized in their views. And I've said this before. There are some men who are online and they're anarchists. They no rhyme, no reason. They just want anarchy. They just want to talk junk. But even the worst of if Kevin Samuels was the big bad boogeyman, all right, what he was pushing for, what he was talking about is essentially things coming together. Now he was hard on them and hitting them with hella gut punches when it came to the reasons why black men and black women couldn't come together. He was definitely hitting them with gut punches on that. But success for him, for what he was doing, would have been more black men and black women being together and having functional, flourishing, happy relationships. So even for the more radicalized men, the supposedly radicalized men, what are they being radical for? Traditional families? Like, what are they being radical for?
Well, Kevin Samuels in this case, may he rest in peace. He's being radicalized. Basically, he's being vilified because he's an advocate of standards for both men
Okay.
and women. However, standards is the antithesis of what she stands for. The only man that can get with her is a man with no standards. Like, it's because she's fat as hell and ugly as shit. So, she's anti-standards, and she feels that having standards is hate because she feels that you hate the people who don't meet a certain standard that she don't meet any standard. So that's why.
Yeah, Paul Game in the building with the $5 super chat. I do appreciate you. He says she is the example when people say, "I know, I know plenty of good single black women with no kids. I don't buy that one. I don't buy that argument. That I've seen that argument floated out there. Oh, it's good women out there. They just look like Britney Cooper. I don't buy that one. There are decent women who look good. Some of them do got kids. I ain't gonna stun on that. But there are decent women out there who are solid, who look good. You don't gotta put your standard down in the toilet just to get just to deal with a chick who got some decency. So no, I'm not going with that one. I'm not going. My life don't reflect that one. So no, I'm not. I'm not going. I'm not going with that one. No, that's not cap. That's not cap. That's not cap. Now I'm not just saying it's an overabundance out there. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying okay. Well, Al Boogie. Okay, in order for you to get a decent woman, you gotta reach down into the toilet and pull a hernia and reach down into the toilet and lift Brittany Renner up out of there and blow your back out doing it. That's what you got to do to get a decent. See, this is the bullshit. Okay, let me just skip to the end. This is the bullshit. Why do we say that women like her are decent? All the indecent chicks out there, it's women like her who politically fight to give them all the leverage and incentive and political backing and everything to go out and be the indecent. She on the same team as them, which means if she looked like them, she'd be acting the same damn way. She just don't look like that, but she's still fighting for the cause. She still got her fist in the air for the cause of the thought. So come on, she's a politically organized person who's enabling the thought. So how's she different? Like, come on.
Well, I mean, the thing with her is that if she's interested in a guy, she's far less likely to be conceited. And I think that people actually confuse that with being a decent person, a decent human being, or a decent woman. However, a decent woman wouldn't be fat as fuck to begin with. So she's far from it. She's far from it. People seek balance for whatever reason. They think life is like a video game, to where if a woman has level 2 looks, then she has to have level 10 personality or some crap like that. Or if she has level 10 looks, she has to have level 2 personalities. No, some women are just largely better than other women in every single matrix of how you value women, and she's at the bottom in possibly every single matrix that you value women. She may pretend, she may up it in things that are adjustable, if she finds a guy in her vicinity that she looks like, and we all seen it. You've been new to a company and then you walk in, you're the new black guy, and then the fat black chick, she wears that perfume or something like that, like you're supposed to smell it and forget the fact that she's fat as hell. Like, we've all been in that situation.
Oh, time out. I never thought about that. Have a chick ever like walked by behind you on a nice little breezy day and you smelled some real nice perfume and was like, and then you turned around and it was a Brittany Cooper looking chick that was all perfumed up like that? Had that ever happened to you?
No, I can't say that it has.
Yeah, I don't think they wear perfume.
Well, yeah, I think that they just deal with that bologna jelly smell that they have. I don't think that they really do that or I think that they might try it, but it sweats away quicker when you're fat. Yeah,
that's probably why you never saw. That's probably why you never saw a Brittany Cooper looking chick smelling good with perfume on it. That shit sweat away. By the time she make it off the front porch, she just sweated it off.
Yeah, pretty much. She walk up 2 stairs and that's it. Like, she breathing hard and the perfume's gone.
Oh shit! God damn, man.
At the job, they're the ones who come with the new weave when they see that you start the company or something like that, and they're like, "Ooh, like no, it's not. It's you're fat."
Yeah, man. That's some funny stuff. That is some funny stuff. But the radicalization of black men online. Let's try to still man it for a second. Okay. What would you say is an example? If we were to attempt to still man it, what would you say is an example of black men being radicalized online. Radicalized to do what? Like what is there any black man that you would say is online who would you say who you would say is radicalized? Let's just go there.
Perhaps myself. I mean, basically, if you, yeah, I mean, if you look at a radical as somebody that goes against a social norm, I definitely want to convince black men to go against a social norm.
So they
And
call it radical, just anything that's outside of what they the lines they want you to color in. They basically want us to
yeah,
be good little boys and don't say nothing, vote Democrat, the whole works, and anything going outside of that, leaving, whether it's leaving the Democratic Party, whether it's having more standards with women, saying no to single mothers, which is in turn, I'm not even about to get into that, but whatever it is, they're viewing it as radical. What I'm fishing for is who's actually radical on the men side of things. I'm sure it's some that exist,
well,
but
again, I am. I mean, if the social
well,
norm,
you are to them. I'm talking about legit radicalization.
I think that most of us are. I mean, the social norm is for men to just accept what you can get, not
Mhm.
demand what you want
Okay.
from women. So anything outside of that is radical because black men have been conditioned to accept what they get as long as they could, at the end of the day, say that they're getting pussy. That is what we have
Um,
been born to do. That is what we've been born to accept and embrace. That is the norm. Anything outside of that norm is radical. And since we speak outside of that norm, then we definitely radical. Yeah.
yeah. Marcus B. Two. I can't even tell what that says. That Mark. Hold on. I'll make it. I'll make it a pinch bigger. Marcus B. 28, and I thought that was Marcus 8 2B. It's a little far away. Not really though. But he says the picture looks like she is about to take on Aaron Donald on a third down blitz to protect Aaron Rodgers. That's actually funny. That is
I
actually
don't know
funny.
what that is or who
Yeah,
they
yeah,
are.
yeah, yeah. Aaron Rodgers is a quarterback,
Right.
and
I mean, I get the context, but
yeah, okay, yeah, okay. I know
I would
sports.
laugh too if I understood it better. Yeah.
Yeah. No, really, the way that she positioned, like the way her hands are up, like that, like
Oh yeah.
when a left tackle comes up, after the ball is hiked, that is the exact position that you want to be in to defend the pass rush. So yeah, she do like she defending the pass rush right now, and probably would do it rather effectively. Indigenous TV in the building, do appreciate you. He says, and with the first pick in the 2022 draft, the New York Jets select Brittany Cooper, left tackle from the University of Texas. Absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah. Yep. Boy. My bad, Freedman's Journal. I didn't see it. I will scroll back up the list and try to find. Oh shit, I'm missing a lot of them. Wait, no, I didn't miss that one. I didn't miss that one. My bad, Freedman. Oh shit. Yeah, there we go. Freedman's Journal. Thank you. Appreciate it. Bernard Riley. 46% of black women have multiple baby daddies, 80% overweight, half of that obese. What is the real percent of decent women? Why look for I didn't say look for a needle in a haystack. I didn't say that. I say man, when you leave the house or you hit the club or you go wherever you go, any woman you're attracted to is on the table. So please, I hate when y'all do that. Don't say that I said look for a needle in a haystack. Any woman you're attracted to is on the table. So I didn't say that. He said, what is the real percentage of decent women? Why look for a needle in a haystack in a field of haystack? I didn't tell anybody to do that. I didn't tell anybody to do that. I understand exactly what it is. I was just making the point that you don't have to reach down in the toilet to Brittany Renner in order to find a decent chick. Because I don't think she's decent personality wise. But there are people that argue that if you want somebody who's not going to bring you problems, you got to get with somebody like Brittany Renner. I was saying I reject that premise. But the premise that you're laying
That's
out
what
is
some
premises.
would say.
is premises I agree with. Those are premises I agree with. And even then, I'm flexible on the overweight thing, because it's a lot of women who got some hips, thighs, and ass and stuff that I like, that might put them over that overweight scale on the body mass index. But I don't even fight on that one, even though it is what it is on that. But I don't even fight on that one, because the people who are speaking against black women, which I'm one of them, to speak to the fact that they need to lose some damn weight, is those people are doing the Lord's work and fighting a good fight. So I'll never be that dude that's getting in their way. But I didn't make that argument. Don't say I made an argument. Don't say I made an argument that I didn't make. Don't say I made an argument I didn't make. I'm definitely shoulder to shoulder with you on the overall level of bleakness out there in the dating market. If you're looking for somebody whose body mass index and black and no kids and good attitude and cooperative, submissive, feminine, the whole works, all of that, if that's what you're looking for, then yeah, it's slim. But Brittaney Cooper is not the answer. That was my point. Yeah, that was my point.
So what you described before is an example of what we are being radicalized against, because we as black men have been taught that you have to make certain concessions just because. So you can't just have like a woman who's reasonably decent, fit, feminine, and friendly. You have to pick one of the three,
Yeah.
which is ridiculous. You should not have to pick. You should not have to pick one of the three, provided that you are a reasonably decent dude yourself.
Right. Right. And Jack Nickelback said, Bernard Riley, she not fat, bro. She thick.
No, she's fat. She's extraordinarily overweight, and that's another thing. Like thick was just a word that was invented by. See, understand this, and you're a little younger than me, but you remember the time when we as men used to openly make fun of fat bitches, and guess what? Back in the '90s, the women that we made fun of weren't as fat as this one. Okay, for example.
No, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I'll give an example for those of you who are out there. The first Friday, when they was talking about I look like Janet Jackson, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then Chris Tucker was like, she looked more like Freddie Jackson. She is not as fat as Brittany Cooper. And then on the next Friday, when he was talking about Baby D, her cousin Baby D, she know all the snacks. She know all the bootleg snacks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. She was not as fat as Brittany Cooper. Let's be clear. We had a very clear, defined line of who's too damn fat, and it was a lot smaller than the definition of too damn fat that we have now. Exactly, Freeman's Journal. 90s fat is now thick. They are moving the goalposts, and they feel that we are radicalized because we are not allowing stuff like that to happen.
Okay, wow. Okay, I do think the Freddie Jackson chick was actually was fat. She said like, Johnny, as a bitch looking more like Freddie Jackson. I think she was fat for real, but I'm looking at Baby D, and people that hopefully I can see that. Hopefully I can see that pretty good. But that's Baby D right there, and yeah, I don't. She by today's that is a real good point. By today's standard, I don't know how well y'all could see that, but by today's standard, no, she wouldn't be called fat by today's standard.
No, exactly. Somebody made a point. Like Queen Latifah on Fresh Prince was called fat, and she was fat by '90s standards. Yes, she was. Even though she might be fat now, I'm not sure. But even though, and like on Set It Off, she wouldn't be fat by today's standards, but she was fat by back then standards, which means that what has changed is our standards. That's what's changed. Black men's standards have changed, and we have been allowing them to change it. And now that we push back against that, all of a sudden we're radicalized.
Now you got me check. I'm about to look at Queen Latifah on Fresh Prince. If I'm fine exactly. I mean, we all know what she looked like, but it's specifically how she looked when she was on Fresh Prince.
Well,
That's
look her up
interesting.
on Living Single too. Set it off. She was always the fat one with 3 other slimmer chicks.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Interesting. I ain't got to pull that up. But no, good points. Good points on that one. Good points on that one. Um all right. All right. The background noise. I don't know what it is when Game Changer and Obsidian get on. Yeah, wires don't cross right. But anyway, yeah, thanks for muting up GC, because I will go to Obsidian on this one. Obsidian, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. And hey, speaking of Obsidian being here, moderators, you know what to do. Drop the links to the Mumia Obsidian Ali experience with Black Manosphere events. Y'all know what to do. The tickets are available. It is going down. But anyway, without further ado, we do got Obsidian in the building. Go ahead, Obsidian. You have the floor. You have the mic.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on?
Bernard Game Changer. Listen, I don't
Not you showing up on time.
Oh, my bad. Sorry about that. I guess the problem I'm having with Dr. Cooper, first of all, I have a problem with her and other Black feminists, and by the term I mean people who identify as such and make their daily bread from the enterprise, not merely Black women with whom I just happen to disagree. I don't think all Black women are Black feminists. So we're talking about the real deal car carrying variety. The problem I have with Dr. Cooper, she is, PhD level. She's an academic. Last time I checked, Rutgers University. Women and gender studies, the kind of chimera of women, gender, and Afro-American studies, that sort of thing. She's a coward.
Hold on, explain why she's a coward.
Because she wouldn't confront Kevin directly.
And
Dr. Cooper has been feted in Black chattering class circles, the Root, the Griot, etc., as being one of the heavyweights, and I do mean with the pun there. One of the heavyweights intellectually to come down the pike in recent years. That is to say, within the last decade or so. And she's had numerous opportunities to go tete-a-tete with one of the Black manosphere's best and brightest, and go, mano a mano. And she refused to do so until Kevin was dead.
What was her exact quote? Hold on, really quick. What was her exact quote on Kevin Samuels after he died? I didn't catch that.
Well, she spoke. Let me see. I'm looking at. Let's see. Hang on a second. Give me one moment. Let me zero right in. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Let me zero right in on Cooper's name in this piece.
Oh yeah. Well, why you
look at here it is. More than 30,000 people signed an online petition calling on YouTube and Instagram to deplatform Samuels, believing he had galvanized a community of all races, of men of all races and nationalities, in the outspoken hatred of women. End of quote. To many, Samuel's polished and bespectacled presentation was little more than a pseudo-intellectual cover for misogynoir. Quote, I think he has an outsized impact on poisoning the social discourse between Black men and Black women around matters of love, dating, and intimacy, the Rutgers women's study professor Brittaney Cooper wrote in a recent Facebook post after Samuels used a clip of her talking about racism and fat phobia as an example of low-value women. Quote, I hope that the Black women who like Kevin's work stop letting the latest brother with relationship advice exploit your pain. End of quote. So my thing is, Dr. Cooper is a social media personality, very outspoken. Why won't she go and step into the arena? And let's find out who will out in a real debate. I am saying that Black women like her are cowards. That's why. They know that Kevin would have their lunch. You have no leg to stand on, looking that hideously huge, thinking that you're going to be a viable mate in the mating market. Period. Period. Whether one agrees or disagrees with Game Changer's particular take on it, notwithstanding, the evidence countervails against her dress size. It just does. There's no evidence to support that women of her dress size are valuable mates in the mating market, let alone for high value men.
Well,
There's just no evidence to support it.
All right. No, I agree with that. And I don't recall where she's, specifically saying anything about, her value as a mate, even though if you scratch beneath the surface, that's probably what it all is about, is, butt hurt about not being, not getting what you want from the market. I get that 100%. Let's hold on. Let's talk about the statement here. This radicalization of Black men. For those who didn't see the statement, this conversation was sparked by a statement made by Brittaney Cooper. Says, so while I was not attempting to compare Black men to Peyton Gendron, when I made a flippant response to a friend's post on here, I absolutely mean what I say about the internet radicalization of Black men. Y'all not becoming mass shooters, but you're still a possible threat. What's your take on that, on her saying that Black men are a possible threat?
It means that her statement is as undisciplined as her visage. As an academic, you have a responsibility as an academic to, when you're interfacing with the public, to make responsible, measured statements rooted in evidence. And I find it interesting and ironic that she uses the term flippant, because she's flippant. Twitter, by its very nature, is flippant. How erudite can you be in 160 characters and you claim to be an academic? There is no evidence to support that Black men en masse are school shooters. There is no evidence to support that Black men en masse within the Black manosphere are murderers. There's no evidence to support the statement. She is as undisciplined in her discourse as she is in her diet. And it shows. And I say that Dr. Brittaney Cooper and soon to be Dr. Feminista Jones, they're cowards. And Black feminists like them are cowards, because they would not go head to head, mano a mano, with Kevin Samuels in his lifetime, but waited until he was dead before they came out of the vultures came out of the woodwork circling the carrion. They're cowards. Period. If they really bout it, they prove their mettle in the public square of open, full-throated debate. If they were the real deal.
If they were about it.
If they were really about it. But they didn't. And we all know why they didn't. Because we all know Kevin would roll over the whole lot of them. That's why. They're cowards. Period. And we can start with the dress size, because yes, that matters to men, particularly the best of Black men. It matters. Look at Michael B. Jordan. It matters. Period.
So I actually have a theory about Brittaney Cooper, if I may. Well, I have a theory in general. It starts with the show Good Times. After James Evans, the father, died on that show, I noticed that Bookman was around Florida a lot. I think they had a kid, and I think that kid is Brittaney Cooper. I think that she is the byproduct of Bookman and Florida Evans. Look at her. The confusion means that you don't remember what Bookman looks like.
Okay, let me see. Let me make sure. I have to look stuff up.
Okay.
Okay, one moment, and oh, yeah. Yeah,
Now, does it make sense?
well, we're gonna go this route right here. We're gonna put that there, and gonna make that bigger for the audience, and we're gonna get Brittany Cooper's big ass out of the way, and that's Bookman right there. Okay, so yeah, the two pictures to the right more probably crystallize the point that you're making a little more, but all right, okay, okay, all right, we got it. So yeah, yeah. Game changer with the references. Game changer with the references all day. But yeah, it's a it's a crazy thing. It's a crazy thing that they're talking about radicalization. I think you did have it right, game changer, that they're looking at it as anything outside of the norm, anything outside of the norm of what they're pushing, they consider it to be radicalization, to the point of a mass shooter. I honestly think that you got it right on that one. No, you went a step further. You say they say it's worse. They would say that it's worse. One mass shooter doing one incident. Okay, that's one unfortunate event when a group of people were killed. Okay, that's bad. But I think you would argue that men thinking different, moving different, operating different, voting different, having different standards, and the whole works when it comes to all of that, they're going to view that as absolutely positively worse, because now we're talking about an overall total sea change in the whole, just the demographics of how how men operate, and how that's going to affect them and their movement and the things that they're into and the things that they're for. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's See, a mass shooter, you can pretty much, it's clear that he's the bad guy. You know,
Mhm.
he's the bad guy, and everything he says and does is wrong because he did this horribly wrong thing, which is true in most cases. She actually wished that that was being done, because then, she could say, "Oh, so these guys are mass shooters, therefore everything they say about me being too damn fat is also false." I
Mhm.
mean, basically, she wants to, like Obsidian was saying, she wants to be the only one with a microphone. She wants to speak uncontested because, for so many generations before the internet and before, Manosphere and things like that, they had basically the floor. Society gave Oprah the floor. Society gave Alice Walker the floor. They were the only ones with a voice out there, and they can pretty much spit any rhetoric that they want. They're used to that, so they're not going to challenge somebody like Kevin saying they don't believe in black men having voices.
Yeah. Yeah. Um yes, Indigenous TV, that is correct. That is Jason Whitlock on in the background. Yeah. I rock with Jason Whitlock. Jason Whitlock did I would have to say probably one of the best tributes to Kevin Samuels that was out there. I mean, he did like two whole shows on Kevin Samuels, and like really went hard and really went in. So yeah, shout out to Jason Whitlock on that. Shout out to Jason Whitlock on that. He definitely held it down. Out of all the things he could have covered, because he covered, mainstream stuff, he made sure he spent two shows on, two 1 hour and some change shows on, on talking about Kevin Samuels. So that was big of him. That was big of him. Yeah, so I definitely salute to Jason Whitlock for that one. Obsidian, one thing that's game changer, because I was trying to see if we attempted to still man a point of radicalization. Is there somewhere or something that you could think of where somebody could potentially point to and say that okay, this is legitimate radicalizing of black men? Is it? I was trying to think of it. It's probably out there, but I
Are you
don't
are
know.
you are you talking with regard to the Black Manosphere?
Just in general.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. I would have a very hard time answering that question because the question is too broad. If we're going to say black men in general, that's too broad. That's like saying, are women in general radicalized? That's too broad.
No. I'm saying any pocket anywhere online. She said the internet has radicalized. Let me make sure I get the quote right. The internet has radicalized. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There it is, right there.
And that shows you the intellectual vapidness of. I mean, Cooper is literally junk food inside and out. It's a vapid statement.
Mm-hmm.
When you sit down and really think about that, who are you talking about being radicalized? Let's think about Islam, right? We talk about radical Islam. There's even a term, not Islam in general. You know how big Islam is, the Islamic world?
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous. When we talk about radical Islam, Muslims being radicalized, that's a specific context and a specific demographic of people, mainly, but not solely, men. So we're going to talk about black men being radical. What context? What's the context here?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, that's what I would want. Something specific that we could look to. That's what I was looking for. That's what I was fishing for. But she didn't do that. So I mean, I guess you would say that she threw it out in a deliberately vague way to just try to paint a deliberate broad brush in a non-specific way. And they always do it that way. They always do it that way. But you know, my thing is, let's be specific and then have a real conversation about it.
Exactly.
Let's be specific and have a real conversation.
And that's just it. These people don't have conversations. They make pronouncements as if they're mullahs from Tehran or something. They make edicts.
Mm-hmm.
And what bothers them about Kevin, and by extension the black manosphere, and I hope we keep the heat and the pressure on these people, is that, as Game Changer rightly pointed out, they don't want dialogue. They want monologue. They don't want debate. They want a harangue.
Mm-hmm.
And no, they're going to have an actual conversation, whether they want to or not now.
Right.
And we're going to actually talk about the things that actually matter to men. And yeah, your physical appearance matters a lot. You're too damn fat. Period. You don't measure up. You're too damn fat. We can start there. Then we can get with the fat mouth. All that mouth. Then we can get with that. But right off the rip, job number one, you're too damn fat. Yeah. Shout out to Michael B. Jordan. There it is. There it is. Lori B. Harvey. There it is. Read it and weep, Dr. Cooper. You didn't hear her blaming Trump for the reason why she gained 15 pounds. That's all it took. 15 pounds of relationship weight. She didn't blame white supremacy, food desert. How you gonna be that big talking about a food desert? Make that make sense.
Exactly. That's one thing that always blow my mind. Like, listen, a big part of eating healthy, not the only part, but a big part of eating healthy is eating less. If you've gotten that damn big, it's not because you didn't have healthy choices in front of you. No, you ate too damn much. It's no way around that. I've been eating a lot less, and my food budget is actually lower now. Why? Because I've been eating less. My food budget is lower because I've been eating healthier. Even if you say that eating healthier costs more, but the fact that I'm eating less, I'm not spending more. So it's like,
I'll go along with the eating better costs more argument. Fine. But here's the trick. Professor Brittaney Cooper, you have chick no child. You ain't never had no man. You ain't got no babies. You work at one of the biggest research institutions in the country. You have full entree to their gyms. Rutgers University is a Division I school. Go Scarlet Knights. You have access to their gyms, their nutritionists. You got all of that on Rutgers campus. Stop it. You're just a fat so-and-so. That's all you are. And you can't think. You can't. You suck at thinking. Look at her tweets. Look at them. Look at her writings. Listen to her talk. It's an embarrassment. And we're supposed to put up with this crap?
All right. We got someone by the name of King Prosper coming all the way from South Africa, as you said in the back chat. So hopefully you ain't on no no bad internet. Let's see how you sound. Go ahead, you got the floor, you got the mic. What's on your mind on this topic?
Hello, Mr. Bernard. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, Mr. Bernard, thank you very much, man. I'm coming from South Africa here, just to get to the point. South Africa has a very big violence problem because we're a third world country, as most third world countries, we have a violence problem. And we have a mass shooter problem, but our mass shooter problem is very different to America's one. Because
Yeah,
your mass shooter problem
I heard it's more stabbings in Africa. They don't do not a lot of shootings or
No,
stabbing.
Mr. Riley, not Africa, South Africa, a
Well,
specific country. Let's
oh no,
be
I
specific,
get that.
please.
The person who told me that, she was from Kenya, so she was speaking specifically from Kenya. I don't know
No,
if
very,
I
very
don't.
far away from South Africa. South
No, I
Africa
get
is a
that. I get
very
that.
big.
I didn't know if if the stabbings the stabbings are higher in Kenya than South Africa versus Nigeria. I didn't average that in, so I did lump it all in and say Africa. So go ahead, you got it.
No, let me tell you, South Africa is like America with a lot less money. We have a lot of guns in South Africa, a lot of gangs, a lot of violence, a lot of crime. A lot of murder in South. If you go look at the stats, South Africa is consistently in the top 5 of the murder rates in the world.
Oh, okay.
So to get to this point, if you look at the murder rate in South Africa, 95% of the victims of murder in South Africa are black men. And if you know South Africa is a very high white population. So South Africa, 90% of the murders, it's black men who are dying. However, we have a very sort of close relationship to America, especially African American culture. South African African American culture are very close to each other in the point that if you go look at the history, I won't be long on that. But for some reason, in South Africa, we take a lot from African American culture. But what I've noticed, we take a lot from African American feminist culture. We
Okay.
use African American feminist talking points. We use African American but the worst parts of African American culture. So like they will quote Little Wayne, but they won't quote Neil deGrasse Tyson sort of culture. You see. So in
Okay.
South Africa, so now we have this problem of violence. So there has been a recent spate of
I guess what
a
I'm okay. I guess what I'm
publication.
looking for. I guess what I'm looking for is what you're saying about violence in South Africa relating to the topic at hand. I thought you were
Yes,
loosely relating it
this is
to
where I am.
Brittany
I
Cooper's
think that
statement.
I see the connection.
The
I'm
internet,
I'm here.
Brittany.
This
Whoa,
this is
hold on. Hey,
this is
whoa,
where
easy. I thought you were loosely relating it to Brittany Cooper's statement about the internet radicalizing black men. Were you connecting it to that?
yes.
Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and get there.
Okay. So now where I'm connecting this is that the there is also this notion here in South Africa because Kevin Samuels was very popular in South Africa. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people won't know that he was very, very, very popular here. And I'm going to go to the point that Obsidian just mentioned when he said that a majority of black feminists are cowards in terms of how they debate. They do not want to debate facts. They want to debate feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go and look at people who are suffering from violence, you look at the numbers. Me as a man in South Africa, I'm about 500% more likely to be killed in a mass shooting than a woman, for example.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fact. But when a woman which is horrible. When a woman is a victim of a shooting, it becomes news. Here in South Africa, 55 people, here in my city, for example, in Cape Town, about 100 people, close to 100 people get killed a week. 90% of those are males. No one cares. It's just South Africa is a violent country. A female, something happens to them, it's a crisis. So there's this notion that black men specifically are not allowed to be victims, are not allowed to be, they're only allowed to be perpetrators in violence. Because if you go and do a little bit of research, there's a group of white South Africans who go around saying that there's a genocide being driven against them. And if last year, for example, 80 white South Africans were murdered, 80. In Cape Town, the place that I stay, that is 2 weekends of the black people just getting murdered like nobody's business. But when you raise that issue with regards to with feminists, they try to run away from those facts. When you say that, when I step out onto the streets of South Africa, I'm about 500% Bernard likely to get murdered than a woman.
Yeah, okay, the things that you're saying, they're definitely interesting, and people don't look at men as victims. Dr. Tia, particularly black men, Dr. Tia Johnson does a really good job covering that with black masculine studies. So yeah, like what you're talking about sort of, leans more on what he's saying. I guess I don't see the exact connection, maybe loosely connected to what Brittany Cooper was talking about the the internet radicalizing black men. So but we're gonna move on. We may circle back to that real quick, but LAR movement in the building. You came up while the brother was talking, so I don't know if he's what prompted you to come on up. If so, I do want to definitely pass it to you. So go ahead, LAR. Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show, I should say. You got the mic.
What's going on, good people?
What up? What up?
What's up, bro?
He didn't kind of, but no. Speaking to the topic though, sorry about that. I think what's radical to a lot of these women is men having an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that's radicalized, is men actually having an opinion and being able to put it on a platform.
Yeah.
That's, women like Brittany Cooper and believe all of the stuff that she believes. They know good and well that there hasn't been a man in the building just to speak his point of view for decades. Even on the shows that they go on and even with the topics that they create. Men actually speaking for themselves, it's what's radical now. Because they've been a segue to like, this is what black men think. Black men think this. Why didn't you just ask a black man?
Mm-hmm.
So This is a problem. For her, it's a problem. For the ladies that represent her, it's a problem. And we have to be looked at as, ironically, like Obsidian said earlier, like radical Islam, in a sense, using that as an example. We have to be looked at as over the top because they're trying to set the table for us to be crazy before we even speak. That's my thought.
Yeah. Now, what do you think of the Yelp analogy that I was given earlier? Did you hear it?
No, sir. No, sir.
So basically, I was saying that what they're really upset about is because men are using social media kind of like Yelp, meaning that it's free to everybody and everybody can state their opinion, and their general opinion is not favorable of the rank and file black women. I think that that's what she's really mad about, and that's what she's really calling radicalized.
I get it, because black women are getting bad reviews, but actually they're putting themselves on Yelp, giving their own bad review themselves. They just don't know it's a bad review for some odd reason.
Well, they're advertising poorly, definitely, but you actually have to sample their services to get Yelp. Like, listen, I've been with this chick, it was awful. I think that they're getting that too. But no, they're very bad at advertising their goods. In fact, the worst of all women in my account. I think Obsidian was saying something.
No, I wasn't saying anything. I was just listening. I largely agree with Game Changer on this. Yeah.
What Obsidian said earlier about her not working out, that's part of the problem. You know, actually doing something the right way and being told to do something the right way is looked at as radical. That's
Well, I mean, I think that we as black men are supposed to be told what we should be looking for in a woman by women, and they don't like that. You know, men are deciding what they want from a woman for themselves.
yeah, but
So that's the biggest threat. Like, I mean, they want the only voice out there to be their advertisements of themselves. Nothing's wrong with a PPW, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Fat acceptance. You know, she's thick, more cushion for the pushing. They want things like this to be the only voice out there. And then if somebody comes with a counter voice like Kevin, you know, like Obsidian or like myself, like you, then you know it messes with the brainwashing that they intended to do.
I hate to say what I'm about to say because I'm trying to be nice and say it properly and professionally. The brainwashing of children didn't work. So we're looked at as radical because our mama who's black didn't brainwash us good enough to believe all of these ladies' BS. So now you're dating people with free minds, and unfortunately, there are a lot of our women who have been socialized to believe that us, particularly as black men, we don't have a free mind.
Well, Elior, you ever notice how that's the first place they go to is your mama? You know, like if you come with radical views, quote unquote radical views, they say, you know, your mama didn't teach you, or your mama fat, or something along those lines. Basically, what they're saying is that your mother should have prepared you to accept this particular lifestyle. Your mother should have prepared you for the sisterhood, because really that's the plan. They're not raising boys to be men. They're raising boys to be simps for their girls. Is essentially what's going on. And we're breaking that cycle. We're getting the young men out of this cycle.
We're not necessarily even getting men out of the cycle. We're just pointing out that it's prevalent because people didn't realize how we were black boys and black men have been dealing with the same thing from everybody. But the difference with social media and the internet is now it's not an isolated incident. Like, we didn't even talk to the people up the block and see if that was going on in their households. We didn't have these discussions normally in college and working. But when you started, as you got older and older, and you hear people say stories like, "Man, that happened to you too. Man, that happened to you too." Now social media, you know, sticking with the topics, the chickens coming home to roost is radical. That's what's radical. People thought they were going to be able to get away scot-free with all of their shenanigans with no recourse and a reward at the end of the day.
Am I the only one hearing a little crackling when LAR talks?
No, I hear it too.
Okay, yeah. For some reason, when you talk, it's a little crackling. It's not there when you're silent. For some reason, when you're talking, it's a little. Okay, yeah. Somebody just said it in the chat room.
I'm gonna bounce and come back on my computer.
Okay, cool. All right. Make sure you get the likes up. Get the likes up. I don't know exactly what I missed. I normally had audio playing to where I could hear it when I step off. I stepped away, so I don't know exactly where you're at. How Boogie said LAR's line is tapped. It sound like that a little bit. It sounded like that a little bit. It sounded like I was speaking more from the perspective of, it sounded like y'all were talking about people sharing experiences, and now, you know, one person, you know, gets together and say, "Oh, that happened to you too. Oh, that happened to you too." But then now what is there's an online community of it now. to where it's a bigger network of people talking about these things, and quite naturally they want to shut all that down. They don't want all that to happen. They don't want all that to be the case. Is that more or less where y'all was going?
Well, yeah, pretty much. Like talking to each other is the worst thing you can do when people are trying to control you or keep you under a system of control. Like there was and I'm pretty sure you've all worked for companies that does this or that has done this. There's a unspoken policy that you're not supposed to talk about your salary to other employees. You're not supposed to mention your salary to other employees. That's just like the general no rule that companies created.
Yeah.
But what happens when people just say, "Oh no, fuck that"? You know what happens when that happens? Then companies don't really like that because chances are they were shorting a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like one lawyer makes $350,000 a year, and the other lawyer makes 125, and they have the same experience, but they just like, okay, just don't talk about it, don't exchange notes because we don't want this person to. It's funny, you know, that the system of control. And the system of control starts with ignorance. It starts with that. So they want to keep us basically not talking to each other, not exchanging notes, and not getting outside perspectives of things.
Right.
They want to be able to control our entire perspective on them. And unfortunately, for far too long, they were able to do this. You know, they were raising their sons in a certain way to keep him blind and ignorant of blah, 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 blah. So by the time he's of age, he comes into this world of, you know, these are queens and they're faithful and loyal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they're sugar and spice and everything nice. And, you know, shit. Why not marry Brittany Renner? Like they raised them into that regard.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, RM says in the chat room, it's almost, and I didn't want to go there, but since it was said in the chat room, I was thinking it. I didn't want to go there, but it's like it's the equivalent of not wanting certain folks to learn how to read. Don't want people getting information and sharing information. So yeah,
You know,
Well,
it's
no, I mean,
interesting. I was just going to say it's interesting the point that Game Changer made about Brittany Renner. What's interesting about Renner, and I'm reminded
Renner or Cooper.
Brittany Renner, and then we bring it back to Brittany Cooper.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't. I
Renner,
missed the Renner point. Go ahead.
It's interesting about Renner is that, and I'm reminded of her 2-part interview she did with Cam Newton earlier this year. What was interesting about that is that so many black men have such an adverse reaction to her because she exhibits very high indices or very high amounts, I guess you could say, or she scores, even though she didn't take an actual test, but she tests high in dark triad traits. Most notably, in my opinion, most notably on the Machiavellian scale. So that is to say, she's very manipulative and sees people as a means to an end. In this case, black men of a certain stripe, that is to say, very famous athlete, pro ballers, and that sort of thing. So she writes this tell-all book, right, of her experiences, you know, intimate experiences with, you know, 7, I think it's like 8 black men that are in, you know, in sports and so forth. And Cam Newton says to her, he would never hit her up in the DMs. In other words, he would never approach her as, you know, a prospect for a mate. And she says, why? And he says, because I don't want to end up in your book. And I think that is something while we're talking about Cooper. So we're talking about Brittany's, but very different. And I think black men would do well to think about this and to signal it to black women. They need to know that we value this. Brittany Renner is very attractive, but she's also has personality traits that are very unattractive. And one of them would be the Machiavellianism, the manipulativeness, that she was willing to use her intimacies with various black men, notable black men, and use them in an opportunistic way to enrich herself, to give herself a bigger platform, and so on and so forth. And that's what black men were adversely reacting to, similar to what happened with Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj is another black woman who is very manipulative. She deliberately activates the attraction triggers of black men for profit, right? And that's what a lot of black men are like really reacting to. So in the case of black women like a Brittaney Renner, who also has very high dark triad traits, it's something that black men need to really be mindful about. In the case of Cooper, it's almost not the exact opposite. It's the opposite only to the extent on the physical plane. But insofar as her traits, I'm reminded of her appearance on the Oprah Winfrey Network, where she blamed variously Donald Trump, white racism and supremacy, and essentially white women for the reason why she's morbidly obese. She says in that appearance, among other things, that the diets don't work for us the same, meaning that, dieting works differently for white women than they do black women. Well, okay, so what's the excuse for Lori Harvey? She's black. She was able to do it. It was so clearly she's refusing to take personal responsibility. She's a victim in the same way that Jessica, aka Still Average at Best, refuses to take responsibility for the fact that she's average at best and she needs to lower her standards. She needs to accept it. She refuses, but instead she wants to blame everybody else for what she herself knows about herself. Being irresponsible as an adult and refusing to take responsibility is not an attractive trait in a mate. And men even find that or turn off too. And I think that the personality stuff, the things that you don't readily see on the surface on a person, is something that black men would do well to really meditate on and to communicate outward to black women. Because black women are, whether black women want to admit this or not, they are reacting to what the tone that we set in terms of mates. And that's how it does. That's how it should work. Women respond to that which men say, this is what we like. And conversely, men respond to what women say, this is what we like. So we do have a lot of power and influence in this, brothers, and we ought to use it. And we ought to make it known that we don't like manipulative dark triad women. We don't, no matter how attractive they are. And if you're an unattractive woman and you blame everybody else but yourself for why you're unattractive, we don't like that either.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I do. Obsidian, would you agree when you say, would you say that Brittaney Cooper has the same dark triad traits? She just like less hot, therefore she can't exercise her manipulation the same way?
That's a good question, because all the studies that have been done, and to be fair, we need to be clear about this. The dark triad, which now is like slightly 20 years old, was originally begun with black men. Well, not black men, excuse me, men in general. So men like Derek Jackson, for example, very high in dark triad traits. He scores extremely high on all three: narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. Okay, he scores very high. Shout out to Dr. David Buss. I mentioned him numerous times in his latest book, Men Behaving Badly. He talks about the dark triad. Typically, men that are dark triad are typically men that are very attractive. Similarly, women that are dark triad tend to be women that are attractive. So to your question, Game Changer, would Professor Brittaney Cooper also be considered dark triad? I would say no, because she's unable to manipulate men based on what men want. She can't manipulate a man. No man wants that.
Well, I think she tried to manipulate what men want, so she can do that.
No. What she can do is she can try to use shame and guilt. That's a form of manipulation, but that's not dark triad, because in order to be dark triad, according to all the studies, you have to be attractive to begin with. And she's not able to do that. Now, what she tries to do is she tries to use emotional manipulation, fear and shame and guilt and all that. And another reason why these ladies hate Kevin because Kevin is very results and outcomes oriented. And so if what you're doing is getting you the desired result, there's nothing to talk about. But if what you're doing is not getting you the desired result, then obviously what you're doing doesn't work. And a lot of black women don't like being told that they're not getting the desired outcomes because then what they're doing doesn't work and they have to change it. So what you're right in this sense, game changer, what Brittaney Cooper and others have been attempting to do is get black men to change what it is that they want in a mate. And again, if Michael B. Jordan is anything to go by, it hasn't worked. It won't work. It'll never work. Men who particularly, shout out to David Buss, particularly men, and this is the reason why you want to bust your ass to be successful, fellas. Because when you do, you can literally write your check. You want what you want, and that's that. And the women that want to be with you will do what they have to do to be with you, just like Lori Harvey did what she had to do to keep Michael B. Jordan. That's your incentive for not being a 42 grand a year earning guy. That's your incentive. You want what you want, and that's that. And the women that want to be down with that, they'll do what they need to do to be down on your program. The end. That's the single biggest argument I can make for busting your ass to be successful.
When you bring up Michael B. Jordan, that's an interesting point because I don't think that he's who Brittaney Cooper is targeting per se. I mean, trust me, she wouldn't kick him out of her bed. Well, she would have to because there's no damn room. But I don't. Okay, so there's two types of high value men. There are the ones who, just come out the gate high value. They were either born wealthy, they were child actors or something like that. They're athletes, but they became very wealthy at a very young age. And that Michael B. Jordan would fall in that category. And then there are the ones who, start from the bottom, work their way up into high valueness. What I found is that those guys are a lot more compromising. And I think part of the reason is because they spent so much of their lives being overlooked and not really regarded because they weren't high value so much to where they get to a point in their life and they're like, oh, average at best, look at them titties. Okay. They don't really realize their worth. They weren't made to realize their worth at a young age like Michael B. Jordan was. I think that she's targeting that particular demographic of men.
Okay, all right. So let's look at that with regard to her own male use, since we know in America, mating is very much about proximity. So in other words, if you're an academic, like she is, then chances are very high you're going to be either with other academics romantically, or at the very least, highly accomplished brothers. Okay, we know that it takes a certain amount of time to go through the process of becoming an academic and work in that field. You have to go to grad school, undergrad, grad school. You have to, you have to be an assistant professor. You're trying to get tenure and all that sort of thing. You have to go through a certain process. That takes a certain number of years. Okay, where are those black men for whom it's worked for Brittaney Cooper? Where's the evidence that that's worked for her? Her own methods have garnered her that success.
Well, it's not everybody who goes into academia. In fact, few actually become high value. Becoming a tenured professor, which does take a very long time, especially considering the subject. Now, of course, if you're STEM, it's instant because they have to compete with industry. But it's very competitive. Like if you are a black man and you want to be a professor of African American studies, and you get your PhD in African American studies, everybody who graduated beside you, they want that same job, that same one job. There's probably like one opening for a academic studies, or excuse me, African American studies professorship in all of California open right now. So a lot of these people, they become adjunct professors for years, even decades. It's pretty competitive. Very few. That's not really a way to make money. Now, trust me, they eventually will. I'm sure. If you stick with something long enough, it'll eventually pay off. But yeah, I don't. It's not really a good money making enterprise. But what they want, what Brittany Cooper wants, is that when these men finally make it, they want them to be just so down on themselves, so unaware of their value that they'll take anything, including her.
Okay, so
Well,
where's the evidence of that being true in her life? Like, it was a brother in the chat room that said,
No, it's not going to work for her. I mean, if that's her goal in any of this, making the statement in the thumbnail and the whole works, if that's her goal to try to convince somebody to get with her or be with her, then hell no, that's not going to work. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. As far as to quote or reference that commercial.
Exactly.
Yeah, LAR, you was about to jump in. I'm gonna pass to LAR real quick, but Jared Bigotry in the building says women like Dr. Cooper are trying to use shame as currency in the sexual marketplace. Okay, she hasn't said that, even though, like I said, if you scratch beneath the surface, that could be where some of her gripes come from. I view her as just she's she's politically, we talk about the Brittany Renner, and not even Brittany Renner, take Brittany Renner off the table, just the chicks out there, thotting it up or just doing whatever the hell that they want to do. A chick, a woman like Brittany Cooper, she's fighting and advocating and trying to flex political muscle to basically make sure that all of those women are incentivized to continue doing what they're doing. So she's a part of the team over there. So in that sense, she's no different. She's just not fuckable. But but anyway, I'll go to LAR on this and we'll circle back. Well, no, go ahead, LAR, whatever you got on it.
First, am I cracking or am I good now?
Oh, you are excellent. You are excellent.
Okay, cool. Marion, what y'all were talking about, because I don't know if y'all spoke about this earlier. Sometimes I look at things like this, and this thing in particular, as a money issue. Because going back to something that happened with Obsidian when he had the interview with the lady from Penn, the female Black intelligentsia is not really that intelligent. So they've been spewing out all kinds of things for years, and it hasn't been that bright. So when you come against people who are smarter than you and not quote unquote as educationally accomplished as you, now you take your thought processes to political platforms, and you're getting funded, and you're getting people to put you on other in publications and on shows. You're looking at a group of men who are smarter than you, and that's going to affect your pockets. And unfortunately, using the sexual market, if you ain't got no money, now you really can't. You can get a homosexual. So I think part of this is like a lot of these women realizing that I'm screwed if these guys' opinions and and views come against mine, because theirs actually make more sense.
That's a very good point, LAR, because my interview with Miss Nicole Young, if you will kindly recall, if you listen to the actual interview we did, and I posted it here on YouTube, I asked her early on, how did she find out about me? How did she find out about the Black Manosphere? And her response was Black Twitter. She found all about this on Twitter. It was a purely, she fell down a rabbit hole type of thing. And, it was more of a dispassionate kind of curious interest. But when we read the actual article that came out on the L website, she begins by saying that she found out about the Black Manosphere through a Zoom date. Right? So setting aside the fact that she clearly lied to me, right? Setting that aside for a minute, you make a really good point. And this goes to something that Bernard Riley had been kind of hedging throughout this discussion. This is about mating for these ladies. This is about it. And they're attempting to find workarounds and explanations and solutions to the fact that they got pretty much jacked up mating value. That's pretty much what it boils down to. And the problem that they have with Kevin, and by extension the rest of us in the Black Manosphere, is that we see it and we calling them on it. You need to raise your value, ladies, period. But the bottom line, if you're not getting the mating outcomes that you want, you must raise your mate value. First of all, you have to accept that mate value exists. It does. It is a matter of scientific fact. Shout out to Professor David M. Buss. Mate value is real. A lot of black women don't want to accept that. Mate value is real. You can have high, low, or middling mate value. The scale is real. Period. So if you're not getting the mating outcomes that you want, the solution is one of them is you must raise your mate value. Another solution is you must have an accurate assessment and appraisal of your mate value. And you must mate accordingly. The 5s get with the 5s, the 2s get with the 2s, the 9s get with the 9s. That's how it is. If you can't raise your mate value into another, rung or bracket, you have to settle for what you can get at that level. And a lot of black women have never been told this before, but I'm sorry. The cat is out the bag. We're not going back. And Kevin may be gone, but he is certainly not forgotten. So it is what it is. These ladies are attempting to use, and I have some other research that I don't want to roll out just yet, regarding feminism in general, black feminism in particular. Just came across some research recently that really zeroes in on this point. A lot of these people are attempting to use alternative explanations to kind of explain their place in the mating pecking order. And Kevin really kind of disrupted that.
Well, yeah,
the black manosphere. Yeah.
The appraisal process is what they're trying to change. Brittaney Cooper, of course, she wants to make the appraisal process a matter of financial or academic accomplishments and achievements. She wants that to be weighed more heavily than, actually being physically appealing and, a pleasure to be around. So they're trying to manipulate it that way. They're trying to manipulate it to their favor. It requires a considerable amount of just having the mic, having a soapbox. It requires a real large amount of propaganda in order to get men to go against what they're naturally inclined to be attracted to.
I agree with you. I think you're right. And I think that going back to what Kevin talked about, the focus on outcomes and results, the outcome is that Brittaney Cooper failed. 2 reasons. 2 words as to the reason why. Lori Harvey. She proves that doesn't work. We talked earlier, Bernard, about Lori Harvey and Yumi Nu, the most recent Sports Illustrated model.
Yeah.
And they can run Dr. Cooper off of Twitter, but they can't change the argument. Well, it essentially comes down to shooting the messenger. But Dr. Cooper, Dr. Peterson is the epitome of a high value man. And I'm sorry, high value men don't see Yumi Nu as attractive. So that may be harsh to say, but it's the truth. It's just the truth. So I agree with Game Changer, and I agree with LAR. These ladies in Black America, Black feminists and so forth, they're attempting to change what Black men, particularly higher achieving Black men, desire in Black women. And I'm sorry, it just doesn't work. And the reason why it doesn't work is because of Lori Harvey. It doesn't work.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, Michael B. Jordan, he falls under the category. Okay, they know that once they see a Black man on a boat in Italy, they know that he's more worldly. He's not isolated to the perceptions and the propaganda that we spilled out there because he's seen the world. They know that he's a lost cause, and they know that anybody with young money is pretty much a lost cause. They just charge that to the game. They're after the people who take longer to come into their income. Who didn't spend their 20s on yachts in Italy and stuff like that, and who didn't have a bunch of groupies throwing it at them. They're focused on that. That is what Brittaney Cooper hopes for. She hopes for that guy that that became a professor, that became a tenured professor in his late 30s or something like that. She's hoping for that particular guy, and it's unfortunate because those guys aren't falling for the okie doke either, and that's largely due to platforms like ours and just generally brothers talking to each other.
Well, I don't know about the. It would be interesting to hear the thoughts of because as it turns out, the Black manosphere does indeed have academics within it. Professor Tierson Johnson, the Green Gorilla, Dr. Ronald Neal of Wake Forest University. So it would be interesting to talk to them, because you could be right, Game Changer. Their experiences could very well tally with what you're suggesting. I don't know for certain, but I do know this, that high value men are not born, they're made, and it's usually a multi-decades project. We know that men become their most successful financially, etc., in their 40s and 50s. We know that. Business Insider, Forbes, and others report on this regularly. So what I would, and this would, and see, this is further reveals the empty-headedness of the black feminist scholars, quote unquote, like a Cooper. They don't even research their own subject. The question would be, okay, so at what point do these men become successful in their lives? Is it in their 30s? Is it in their 40s? Is it in their 20s? And if so, if we can determine what that age range is, then what do the women look like that they get with? Because we know that, for example, in the United States, 85% of all millionaires, the vast majority of whom are self-made, are married. We know that 85% of high-value black men are married to other black women. So can we look at those pictures and see a whole bunch of Brittaney Coopers? That would kill the argument.
Of course. Now, real quick, Freeman's Journal in the building. He says, "Oh man is right. This is why black women are faking hate crimes. They need attention. Black women are on an island culturally without black men. Without us, they have no future." Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. Freeman's Journal. Clue said something interesting, and I'll go to Game Changer. See what do you think you mean by this? When are y'all going to let go of this black thing? What do you? I have no idea what he's talking about right there. Do you got a clue, GC?
No, I don't. Clue. I mean, you could let go of your black thing when you run out of lotion. I don't know.
Given that this is a black show on, founded by a black man that talks about black issues, that the statement is odd.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what do he mean by that. Like, what? Explain yourself, Clue. Explain yourself, Clue. I don't know what you mean by let go of the black thing. I am pretty damn curious about that.
What I mean when I'm talking about their target demographic, and Brittaney Cooper will be an extreme circumstance. So let's move to Miss Average at Best, for example. Miss Average at Best, she don't have delusions and fantasies of Michael B. Jordan or NBA dreams or crap like that. She don't. She is looking for somebody who, as you described, reach wealth later in life and is willing to settle down with somebody, like that. That is the target group for a lot of black women. The guys who became wealthy at 39 plus, or who became high value at 39 plus. They assume that these guys are right for the picking. They've been isolated. They don't have the cockiness of somebody who, shout out to Saint and Sinner. They don't have that Saint and Sinner cockiness about them. They've been underappreciated for decades. And she's like, "Oh, look at these titties. Come this way." And what Kevin Samuels
Hey, Game Changer, you right on cue, right? When you said, "Look at these titties," right when I brought up a one. It just seemed like it was on purpose.
Oh no, it
was just poor timing. But yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
No,
sorry, sorry. Go ahead.
No, they're just hoping for a certain level of desperation for men that became wealthier later in life. And Kevin Samuel speaks against that. He's saying that, listen, even to those men have the same standards and desires of men who got their money early or any man. They're going to demand more, and you're average, and he understands that he's exceptional.
Well, okay, so let me address first the Saint in the Center remark. The cockiness that you mentioned with regard to him, so we're going to talk about black men like him. Actually, that's a tell of incompetence, not competence. Cockiness is a tell. That's the reason why cockiness is not seen as attractive to women overall, because it's basically you're trying to fake it till you make it. Competent guys don't need to be cocky. because they're competent already. That's number one.
Well,
Number two.
What's wrong with faking it till you make it?
Well, I'm just simply, hang on.
Okay.
So that's number one. Number two, taking the premise of Miss Still Average at Best, what it would prove by your premise is that she's even more clueless about how men operate than was initially believed 2 years ago. It's a fact that as men achieve more success, their standards in mates rise, particularly with regard to long-term mates. As a matter of fact, the men who achieve the most tend to have the highest standards for long-term mates that the vast majority of women cannot meet. This is the reason why a lot of those guys get, for example, using the Trump model, for example. He gets with Melania Trump, and she's a model from Eastern Europe, that sort of thing. That's number two. Number three, Miss Still Average at Best is aiming for the topmost guys. We know this because she's on a Bravo show called Love Match Atlanta, where she made her standards clear 2 years on from when she met with Kevin, where she wants a man that's 6 foot and taller, out-earns her. So we're starting at a base of $200,000 or more. Those two metrics alone put a black man in the top 10% or less of all men in the country. So she's delusional. She's even more delusional today than she was 2 years ago when she met with Kevin. And the reason why she's delusional is because the one metric that feeds her delusion is the fact that she's successful as a woman. And studies have shown that when women earn majorly in a big way, their desires for a mate to out-earn them go up as well. So she's essentially priced herself out of the market by moving from Greenville, North Carolina to Atlanta, Georgia, where there are black men of the variety that she's interested in. They just ain't checking for her.
All right. Indigenous TV in the building says, I agree with Clue. When are we going to transition from this black love? Nobody is exactly talking about black love. He said, I talk about black patriarchy, and I don't care as much about what color the woman is. But anyway,
I think what he's really asking is
transition from black love. He says, I want to see more black couples nonsense. That wasn't even the conversation. So I don't know why you're trying to. I don't know why you're trying to circumvent or shoehorn that into the conversation. Indigenous TV, I've talked to you about this. I have a serious problem with people trying to come on my platform and try to say that I'm saying some shit that I'm not saying. Quit doing that. I hate that.
I think what he's getting at.
Clue is saying here, he's saying facts, and then Indigenous TV is talking about something different from Clue. Black, white, and race aren't real. I understand where you're coming from that with a scientific perspective, and I have saying like 50 years in the future, all this black stuff that we talk about will be irrelevant at some point in the future. But right now, from a social construct, social standpoint, race does matter, and you understand that. You were at the black manosphere meetup and was very enthusiastic about something being done for black men. So you obviously acknowledge race. So stop you don't come in here with nonsense. Y'all are annoying me with that shit.
I think what they're getting at is the problem with the fact that LAR and Game Changer, in my agreement with them, that what's really what's lying underneath the surface with black feminists like Cooper and Nicole Young, etc. et al. What's really lying under the surface is their frustrations in mating. I think that's really what they're reacting to. Is that why do we have to discuss that? And the reason why we have to discuss that is because we are a sexually reproducing species.
Well, no, Obsidian. But the problem with that, if you ask them if I'm not necessarily Clue, Indigenous TV, yes, Clue probably falls in the category, but I'm more so talking about Indigenous TV. If you ask him who he subscribed to, I guarantee it's about probably 50 black men who talk about women. So, I'm not even going there anymore with that. Shout out to BGS in the building. He said there will never be a black patriarchy. I tend to look at it more case by case, household by household. That's how I look at it. But from the standpoint that you're talking about, like a black patriarchy, no, I'm in the camp that this country isn't even patriarchal. So I agree with you. Well, that's a whole nother topic.
Never say never on that.
That's a whole nother topic. So I'll move on. We're going to pass it to Bree and then Christian Hutchinson. But go ahead, Bree. Thank you for hopping on board. You have the floor. You have the mic.
Oh no, thank you for having me. I was just listening. I kind of came in midstream, so to speak. So I'm not sure exactly where I wanted to jump in at.
Go right on ahead.
I'm just
Anyway you want to
listening.
jump in.
I'm just listening right now. I don't know if there was a question being posed. I just heard the gentleman talking, so I was trying to follow along.
It was nothing specific that prompted you to come up?
No, well, the comment that was made by that woman.
Yeah, okay. I'll put that one back on the board for those of you that are new here. We got 510 people in here. Hit the super chat with the original topic we were initially was talking about. Brittany Cooper made a comment, says, so while I was attempting not to compare black men to Peyton Grandin, when I made a flippant response to a friend's post on here, I absolutely mean what I say about the internet radicalization of black men. Y'all not becoming mass shooters, but you're still a possible threat. That was a comment that was made. That's sort of the backdrop of what we was talking about. We segued into a lot of stuff, but you can go ahead and give your thoughts on that one. You got the floor.
So yeah, I did think I do believe I heard the gentleman in the upper right corner, I don't know his name, making a reference to the fact that this Brittaney Cooper person probably doesn't have a love life. So I don't know where she kind of gets off speaking on, black men when she probably doesn't even have a black man in her life that she's intimate with or has a relationship with. That's all I kind of wanted to say, but I was listening because I want, just in case I want to jump in, if that's okay. If not,
What was that last part about what you said? I'm sorry. I had my earpiece off. Just say the very last part.
Oh, no, I was just saying, I was just trying to fill out where I can kind of jump in at. But no,
you just up here just trying to hang out. All right, I'll let you hang out for a little bit.
Okay, all right,
all right. Doberman in the building with the two. I don't even know what to call Canadian money, but he says black feminists are raising 99% of the shooters to be. Okay, we was talking about mass shootings, but if you're just talking about drive-bys, then I agree with you. But but all right, Christian Hutchinson in the building. Thank you for coming on up. And again, I guess I can personally thank you. Now you do send me a lot of emails with a lot of data, a lot of facts and stats that I do comb through. So I do appreciate you doing that. But go ahead, you have the floor. You have the mic.
Yeah, no problem. So just let you know, Canadian dollar is called a loonie. So just let you know.
I'm going to forget that.
Okay.
A loonie?
I'm never going to forget that. It's called what?
Yeah, loonies and toonies. Like that's what you call Canadian dollars. A loonie is a $1 bill. They have $2 bills there, so they're called toonies. But if you just want to refer to a Canadian dollar in slang, it's a loonie.
I'm never going to forget that.
Yeah.
I'm also going to make fun of Canadians more now that I know that there's money is Looney Tunes. Like oh my God, your money is Looney Tunes. In addition to all the other stuff that y'all have, like the Mounties and holy about, I am making fun. Classic Ruby, I'm coming after you. I am making fun. Your money is called Looney Tunes. Yes.
No, just a loonie. It's a loonie is a single dollar. A toonie because they have a $2 bill.
If you have a bunch of money in your pocket, that's Looney Tunes. That's basically what's going on.
Oh my goodness, I can't.
You got a pocket full of Looney Tunes. I am clowning.
But all right, Christian Hutchinson, brother. Well, first off, Mr. C, thank you for the $20 cash app. I do appreciate it. I appreciate everybody who's been supporting the stream, each and every one of you. Super chat your comments. They will be read on the air and we'll discuss your comments. I appreciate each and every one of you. But thanks again, Mr. C, for the cash app. Go ahead, Christian. You have the floor. You have the mic.
Yeah, so I think something we can do. I mean, obviously, Miss Cooper is very misguided, and again, this is just always a theme I like to push back on. Our culture, targeted specifically within the women within the culture, they think that what happens is These guys who make it to a certain level, they've been sitting in their basement playing Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh their whole lives, and then all of a sudden they make some level of success when they're 35 or 40, and that could be furthest from the case. Men, no matter their race, most likely these people have been very visible throughout their lives, being very active. I was just at my city has a private park that only the people who live there can go to. I ran into a gentleman who went to the Naval Academy. Okay, so he's from Memphis. He's a white guy. He went to the Naval Academy. He was in the Navy, was a Marine officer for years, and now he runs a very large waste waste removal business here in Metro Detroit. Doctors, lawyers, these people don't just sit around and study all day and are invisible. The thing is that they're just not doing the things that we associate with being cool. They do things like they play intramural sports. They might do volunteer work through college. They go to frat parties. They just aren't maybe the most popular person at the frat party. They are in and around. And then what happens is they get done with pharmacy school, med school, PT school, their business picks up, they get promoted at work, their investments go right. These people are around. And so we have to really push back at how these men actually come from fruition. That's first thing. Second thing that has to be pushed back on, when these marriages actually take place. Very few men, I'm telling you, I can walk up and down the street of my neighborhood and I can ask everybody when they got married, and I guarantee you 90% of them is going to be sometime between the ages of 23 and 30 for the men. I guarantee you that that's what's going to come back on, and census data supports this. So again, the men that these women talk about are not getting married when they're on the mountaintop, quote unquote. They are being married when they're prospects, when they're high level prospects, 5, 4, 3-star recruits. That's when these men get married. 27, 28, 29 years old is when these type of men come off the board, not when they're 35 and 40 and they're already at the spot that they're imagining. And there's data to back this up. We have to refute this because, if they want the outcomes they're looking for, saying, "Oh, I want the guy when he's 40," is not going to get them the outcome they want. It's just not going to get them the outcome. And frankly, too, it discourages our men who are doing it because they're thinking, "I can't get a woman until I'm 35 or 40." I know that Mr. Samuels, that's what he advocated for. I'm saying the data in the United States says otherwise of how men are successful when they end up going into the marriage and family formation. The data says otherwise of when this actually happens. We'll exclude people who end up being surgeons and become partners at international law firms or on Wall Street. That is, even though that's a big sector of these men, it is still not the majority, or even more than 20% of these men. So we got to be honest who these people really are, and go always having this narrative that they're 35 and now we're going to marry them. No, that's not how it works. That's actually how we stay losing. It's actually when they hit a certain point and they become a prospect. Just put like this: Alabama doesn't go get the guys when they're in their junior or their senior year, when they're last semester of their senior year. They identify these guys when they're sophomores in high school or freshmen in high school, and they offer them then. And then if they don't develop the way they expect, they walk away. I mean, or they get them on campus, and there's still you can never get to what you want waiting for the finished product. There's only so many finished products out there, is all I'm saying.
Can I add something to that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Ironically, you got people in their mid-30s and up who are really trying to date for lust, knowing that when you go mid-30s and up, people are less and less attractive. They have this mindset that you're going to have these ultra sexy older folks just waiting around, because this is not necessarily about money or career. It's about looking for somebody fine that's probably should be falling off by now. And people are racing to find the finest person that's, you remind me of how I looked when I was 25. So, the whole dating thing became a sham a long time ago.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
that's a harsh pill to swallow for a woman because it pokes at something that they really can't change. That's something her age is not really something that average at best can change about herself. Nor can she, push kid back in her vagina, at 15. So, like, it's pretty much the things that make her unappealing are immutable. So she don't really want to hear that. And I think Obsidian's a suggestion of adjusting her standards is best.
Well,
But she is
the
it's
base of what
average
you
at
just
best.
said, how old her kid is, she can't push it back in the vagina, but a kid is just about old enough to push out the house. So that's the strategy that they go with. But thank you, GC, for the loony and toonie. For those of you who just came in, that's what they call Canadian money. They got a $1 bill that's called a loony, $2 bill is called a toonie. So they got Looney Tunes over there. That's their currency name. That's what we going with. Too Cool for School says the BRNGC fun. Thank you for that super chat. Appreciate that. And I think I saw Jackie Jack dropping some her last toonie on it. Shout out to y'all. Appreciate each and every one of you. Appreciate each and every one of you supporting the stream. I heard somebody else trying to jump in.
We just talked on something too, and I want to tell Obsidian this.
I got you, Chris.
I think that she's lying about her income. Of course, I can't prove it, but what a
I
lot
think
of
she's
women,
lying.
huh?
I'm very sure she's lying. She does not even present like somebody who makes money like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's
you know what? Hold on, real quick. I think y'all off on to something. I think she probably said that she was making six figures because she, in her mind, she probably was thinking, well, I'm saying I want a man to make six figures. I make six figures too. Because she probably thought that was the bartering chip that that's what she's supposed to barter and trade with. Six figures for six figures. So I think she probably did pull that out her ass.
Exactly.
Good point.
Exactly, because I mean, there are people out there who, who make 70K and feel like if they can max out their credit cards, they can appear six figures, and you probably can. So, it's perfectly reasonable to assume that she's doing something like that, especially if, her ultimate goal is to get a dude that makes six figures. She can. That's her selling point. Like, we make the same, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I truly believe, once again, I can't prove it, but I truly believe that she's lying about her income. Like, I lie about, well, not anymore, but I used to lie about my income.
What I think what she's doing is, I think she has a dog walking grooming business. I think that she might top line $250,000, $300,000 a year, but she has employees, and she's not getting the economic impact on her household for $100,000 a year. I mean, like, it's kind of like
I think
it's more likely that she generates.
I think that she has a bathtub and a wash tub that she cleans dogs with outside of her Section 8 home, and then I feel that she gets like $30 to $40 every now and again for cleaning a dog, and she calculates that if she receives steady business, she would make six figures. But meaning that if she gets two dogs an hour, she would make this much. But she don't get two dogs an hour. How many dirty dogs are there in the neighborhood? Like,
I think it's closer to what Emin Perry is saying in the chat. He's saying that her business probably generates 100,000, but after all expenses and everything, blah 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 blah. Oh, and even taxes is probably, who knows, the taxes are gonna knock it down to 70,000. Then there's expenses that probably put her, at maybe 50,000. She probably earning regular money, but like there are business owners who, when they look at everything that was generated, yeah, $100,000 did pass through your hands, but you ain't making $100,000. I think it's probably something like that. Go ahead, Elia.
She makes it. I mean, what they're suggesting is that she makes it and then loses it in expenses. I don't think that her business is big enough to where she has employees. I think that
I don't think she got employees either like that.
Yeah,
no.
I don't even think she makes it before expenses. I think that she does okay with that business, and she's going to present it as six figures so she could demand six figures from a guy. Like her whole selling point is that.
Yeah, go ahead, LAR.
In my opinion, it doesn't even matter because you're telling me a woman who called herself average moved to the city of Atlanta and is supposed to compete with the other women who are highly attractive, who are still single in Atlanta for the ballers that are not trying to marry any of these women in Atlanta. The whole process is stupid.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I agree. And the reason why I brought it up, LAR, was because it shows the delusion. Like her selling point, the thing that she chose to lie about was her income. You know, like when most women would lie about their age, their oh, this is not my kid, this is my sister's kid. I'm just taking care of him. Like, you know, if you're gonna lie about the stuff that men want. The fact that you told that particular lie shows how disconnected you are and socially unaware of what men actually want.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this is again what they want to do is they're trying to they're really trying to change what men are looking for. That's the goal. And the thing is, just for the time frame when people achieve those milestones are typically outside of the time frame of when people actually get married. See, this is a misaligned requirement, right? Like we would say at work, like you're asking for something. Like it's almost like you're talking about something that's not relevant for when it's actually happening, and so this is what she's doing, and it's like that's why she's struggling. And as crazy as it sounds, she actually, if you back into what her child's age is, she had a relationship. But the thing is, she just picked the wrong person because she's 37 now. Her child's 15, and so you're saying when she was 23, she was in her prime race to get the person that was going to get her over the finish line. The person she chose was not the right one, and so this is the results. I mean, you're going to, but if you're going to say I'm going to wait on the sure thing, you're never going to get the results because there is no sure thing until you get to a certain point. And for most women, when they get to that point, the sure thing is either not viable or for their bodies, it's not a great option. I mean, we see she went on the date, right? So the guy didn't drag her. He just said, "Oh, she's older than what I was expecting." And let's be honest, if Miss Jessica decided she was going to date a 45 or 55-year-old man, she could have herself a guy who's divorced with one or two kids and an ex-wife. She could probably have him the next 9 to 12 months if that's what she wanted. But she
Let
doesn't
me
want that. She
let me
probably
cut
wants
to the chase. I'm sorry.
yeah.
There is no right one.
Well, there's one that fits. There's the one that fits. Yes, there is no right one. There's the one that fits.
No, I mean in the way that these ladies come off, there is no right one. There's never been a right one.
Oh,
There's
okay, yeah.
only been a lifestyle indie. Think
Can I
about
say something?
Wait, hold on. Go ahead. After you got next after LAR finish up.
Okay.
you're talking about a demographic of women, for the most part, who find themselves in Atlanta, Miami, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, Dallas, Houston, looking for the Sex and the City Black version dream. They're never looking for a particular type of person. They're looking for a particular type of ending. They've never looked for, oh man, he has to be a certain height, a certain size, a certain build. They never cared about, they never had a specific thing in mind. It was just an avatar that fits a lifestyle.
Yeah, and that's a big portion of it too. Another thing is too, um, like it always gets said, yes, they're dreaming about a lifestyle. They're not actually dreaming about what a upper middle class or well off family really is, because you can just see from the way that that they talk about stuff. They just think that all of a sudden, if your guy makes $250,000 a year, that you're just flush with all this cash and you can do whatever you want. That to me, that's actually an indicator show how poor a lot of these women really are when they say this stuff. That's just because, again, I know how the people behave and work in my neighborhood, and it's not what these people. It's funny to hear what a lot of. I live in a pretty affluent city, a pretty affluent Detroit suburb. It's funny to hear what they describe as what they think something is versus what it really is. It's funny to hear because even for to put in perspective, the median household income in the city I live in is about $171,000. Okay, and people, and I would say the only people who live like that in our city are probably people who live in like the $4, $5, $8 million homes, which is probably only only 10% of the people who live in my city. So even within that sort of place, that's how small the segment it is. And those people are much, much older. These people are not even in their early 40s, or oftentimes in their late 50s.
All right, go ahead, Bree. You got it.
So yeah, I was watching the clip. I saw some of the clips and how the host of the show, they were coddling her and everything like that. I was just curious to know, like I made a comment that, I don't know what type of men or energy that she puts out to draw men that would only want to know how to get in business with her. I'm a regular girl. I don't, I consider myself maybe a 5.5, maybe close to a 6. And when I was dating, I mean, I dated all kinds of professions, from firefighters to cops. And that was just me being me. And I didn't have all this high expectation. But I know, in my prime especially, even though I didn't get married, but even, in my prime, I was able to attract these kind of men. But I think it just goes back to overvaluing yourself and not knowing your lane.
Let me ask you a question.
No, I just want to say many women in their prime can attract this. I think that one of the criticism that many men have of Average at Best is that she's not in her prime, yet she's behaving as if she is.
Right.
She's making her demands as if she is.
Let me ask you a question about men in general. If you do you think that men are dating business women and entrepreneurial women to be their employee?
You asking me?
Yes.
Do I think that men are dating women to be their employees?
Yes.
No. I mean,
but that's what they think.
And I'll say this too, to add this to the conversation. My sister is a doctor, and she married her husband during her residency. He is now a retired Marine, and he works he works a regular job, nothing super fancy or anything. And they've been married for roughly 16 years. So I don't know. I don't think I think she just thinks too highly of herself or something. I don't,
Well, I mean, unlike your sister, who seemed to base her mating choices on, her actual value versus what her income dictates, because it might not be in your sister's best interest unless she's extraordinarily attractive for her to say, because I'm a doctor, I only date doctors. That probably wouldn't go the way that she speaks. I think that she had.
I get that.
Yeah, I think that she had.
I mean, we're average. Yeah, we're average. We're not, beauty queens or anything over here.
Game changer.
Well, I think that that's the breakdown. Like, because a lot of women are asking for beauty queen privileges without actually being beauty queens. I mean, we have an example of a woman who's asking for beauty queen privileges because she's a dog walker. Now, somebody, I think it was you that sent in the private chat, sent a link to her dog grooming business site.
Yeah, I was trying to find that myself.
Yeah, but here's the thing: when you click on the address, Bernard, and then you do like a Google Map search, it's not that business. So here, it's on a Verizon building, and it's Aries, the health and home experts. So she says she's in Suite 105, but when I go to that address, there's a whole nother business there. Just saying.
Yeah, and she moving to Atlanta, like a dog grooming business. Like, I mean, again, unless you got a lot of employees and have built and created a system that's going to work, run, and function without her being present, you leaving your business location like that, your business is not making money. Unless only way she could up and move to Atlanta, because you go to a whole new market and got to start from zero advertising where you already have clientele. Like that sounds shaky.
Yeah,
You know
it
what
means
this
that there
is?
is no clientele, and according to this, there's no business. The business that she said was at this address is not at that address.
Real quick before I pass it,
Basically,
Jared Bigotry. Well, I'll call you Jared Bigotry, but Jared Bigotry in the building. He says these last two toonies. Thank you for that super chat. Do appreciate that, and also thank you. Wait, no, I read that one. That's a Odie. That's a Odie. Somebody else just sent one. My bad. My bad. I will find you. I will find you. Shout out to you and everybody else supporting the stream. I'm gonna find. There it is. There it is. Right there. Well, shout out to Philip Harris dropping a loony on there. I think that's called a loony in Canada. And then shout out to Jab Crow Joe in the building, says, "Do not get married. Follow the model of a future and
Eddie
Eddie
Murphy is married.
no. There are better models to follow. I mean, I'm not fighting you on the don't get married part. I understand, but future is not the other option. Future is not on
Eddie
the
Murphy
table.
is married.
I don't even know Eddie Murphy's situation. He say telling brothers to follow Future. That's no, unacceptable. That's worthy of being deleted. All right. All right. Who did I interrupt? I forgot who did I interrupt.
I'm gonna keep it short.
Go ahead, Elliot. No, you got it. Take your time.
Basically, what we're dealing with are women normally who want to find a partner, so he can be her BLM baby daddy.
Elaborate.
BLM. I don't understand the concept.
I get it, and that's dark. Go ahead.
BLM, one of a couple of the founders, they were paying their baby daddy money to be secure. This is what people are looking for. And they're thinking that guys are going to sign up for this. And quote unquote high value guys at that are going to sign up for this.
I think, not to cut you off, but I think women want son husbands too.
That's what that is.
They really want to be in charge of the men that they, come into relationship with. I'm just wondering, where is the male figures in her family? Like, why would they let her go on TV like that and
she didn't have any.
again?
She didn't have any. She got on the thing saying that she grew up. It was just her mom, and grandma in the house.
But then
that's not what she said.
told Kevin her
Yeah. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold up. She did tell Kevin that her dad and I think a brother or somebody else in her family was one of the type of men that she was saying that.
I thought you were talking about the professor. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the professor chick.
Oh no. I don't know how we put her to. I mean, I did make a pre-record about the average at best chick earlier. Right now, I'm probably drop the link for that as we get up out of here. But no, we was talking about Brittaney Cooper at first. I was like 300 pounds off. But we was talking about Brittaney Cooper at first, and then we transitioned to the average at best chick. So that's who we own right now. So yeah. And she did say that she had men like that in her life. But this business is looking more and more suspect. I'm glad somebody got the 300 pounds off reference. But yeah.
I just
Yeah.
wonder how how this will affect her son too. Her outlook on black men, you know, and when it comes to raising a son, because she's gonna come from a bitter, angry, you know, angle.
Well, we can kind of guess how our son's going to turn out. She said that the father is not involved, right? So we can
Right.
just we can start backing into the data how this is going to play out.
Yeah. Yep. But
I mean, not to sound like, you know, not we can start guessing if when after he turns 18, if a couple things happen, we can start tracking what's going to happen in his life.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting. It's just a lot to say that she's still single, because I can't believe it's been 2 years. I'm like in utter shock, like that it's been 2 years.
I'm not
It just
shocked.
seems like it. Well, I'm just saying it seems like the show just aired.
Well, it hasn't been exactly 2 years. I exaggerated a little bit in my title.
Okay.
But no,
Comes
I
up to
think
about
that
18
happened
months.
Year and a half.
around September-ish. I mean, it's been over a year and a half. It's been definitely over a year and a half. You can round up to 2 years. I definitely give it that. You can round it up to 2 years. But I don't know. My overall take on that, and I think I may have said, I don't know if it
I
made
mean,
the
I'm
cut
not
room
shocked
floor,
because,
but
like,
what'd you say? GC? I don't know. I thought GC was saying something. What I said in my pre-record on that, I don't even know if this part made the cutting room floor, is that I think that, you know, guys who meet her requirements will date her. Actually, GC, you said something about this regarding Gabrielle Sidibe. Whatever type of guy likes the type of woman that she is, her being famous and visible basically puts her out there visible for the guy who has that very unique taste and fetish. So somebody who's visible, yeah, that's rare in a bad way. They're going to end up finding what they want, maybe. So from that standpoint, I think it's definitely increased chances that she may find exactly what it is that she's looking for, but it's telling the fact that she hasn't, seeing as she's that damn visible. So it got to be at least one high earning, high value dude that don't know his worth. They don't know that he could bargain a better deal out on the market, who will probably end up with her. But the mere fact that that hasn't happened, that is telling. That is telling. So I'll leave that there. But we about to more or less get up on out of here. RM, real quick, the pre-record that I dropped today, drop the link for that one. Drop that one on in the chat room. We'll do some well, yeah, I don't even know if we're gonna exactly do last words, because I do gotta roll up out of here. But what I do want to do, what I at least was trying to do. I don't know if RM is listening or if she's on it, but when you shit, why is that? Oh, I'm having technical issues galore. But again, thank you everybody in the building who's watched the stream, supported the stream in any way, shape, or form. And when you leave, oh, there it is right there. When you leave, don't just click off the show. Let the link right there in the chat room, the link to my last pre-record, let that be your exit out the door. Click on that one as you leave. And appreciate each and every one of you for being here. And with that said, I am out of here. Peace.